Jiang Fan kissed Green Pearl's forehead, and Red Sleeves caught him in an instant. Now she's calling him a dog, and the Usura Saint's son is hunting him across realms. Like and subscribe to see if he survives this mess. Jiang Fan frowned, recalling that he had happily planted a kiss on Green Pearl's forehead. Such a subtle action could be sensed. He said calmly, "How would I know? I'm not her shadow, how could I possibly be watching her all the time?" Red Sleeves glared deeply at Jiang Fan and said, "Then I'll pretend it was just a dog's lick." "You." Jiang Fan clenched his fists quietly. This nasty woman couldn't be deceived at all. He asked, "Are you also going to follow me to Heavenly Heritage City?" Red Sleeves bluntly refused. "No. Just some ordinary half-giants, you don't need my help. Besides, this trip to kill half-giants stands against the compassionate sage. He might hesitate because you are beings from Central Earth. But not me. If I go, I must kill to establish my power." Jiang Fan nodded. "All right. Then what do you plan to do? The connecting sky-black pillar is about to collapse. You need to hurry back to the heavenly realm." He was still grateful to Red Sleeves. The initial agreement was for Red Sleeves to help hold off the Black Sun King, but in the end, she participated in nearly the entire war, greatly benefiting Central Earth. Red Sleeves said, "I will return to the heavenly realm now, goodbye." Jiang Fan said, "Wait, let me give you some yin chi vegetables to take back." Though yin chi vegetables are not particularly impressive, they are among the few things on him that Red Sleeves could use. "No need." Red Sleeves shook her head and dashed away in place, without the slightest hesitation. Jiang Fan watched her disappear, stunned for a while before sighing. "Thank you, Red Sleeves Fairy." Then he turned to the crowd, his eyes heavy as he said, "Everyone, Red Sleeves has already mentioned the risks of going to Heavenly Heritage City. This is digging up the roots of the compassionate sage. He will certainly want to kill. If you follow me, there's a high chance of falling, even if today goes well. There's no guarantee the compassionate sage won't act against you secretly someday. The compassionate sage might have mercy on the ancient giants, but for the people of Central Earth, he is ruthless. From how he erased the spiritual wisdom of the only witness, the female venerable of the heavenly abyss 7 cities, and gave her to Dharma image realm half-giants as a toy to abuse, it can be seen. He has no compassion for the beings of Central Earth. In his heart, there's only the merit of half-giants. Whoever dares to touch it will face destruction. The face of Heart Demon Venerable twitched with fury. How much longer must we tolerate them? The consumption of members of the Heavenly Abyss 7 cities has outraged both gods and men. With the final battle imminent, they even struck from behind, helping the Giant King's main force cross the battlefield, causing severe destruction. "These traitorous beasts, I'll kill them even if it costs me my life." His eyes were slightly red. It was clear that the death of forgetful Wild Elder greatly affected him. An obscure great venerate was killed by half-giants just like that. They truly deserve to be cut into pieces. HMPH. That old thing compassionate should be the one to die. Red Demon Venerable snorted coldly with his hands behind him. The sages endure the half-giants for the sake of the bigger picture, hoping to placate compassionate sage, making him focus on helping to deal with the ancient giants. But what was the result? Did that old thing seriously fight the ancient giants? Shu Bu Su asked, puzzled. "Why do you say this?" "Senior," Red Demon Venerable scoffed. "Can't you see? In theory, during the Great Wine Sacrifice and the several sages, there's Jiang Fan's law wine, allowing them to restore their power of laws on the spot. In the battle against the Giant Emperor and the 10 sins of Central Earth, they should gradually gain the upper hand over time. Yet, until the end of the battle, it remained a tie. Is this reasonable? There's only one explanation. A sage is muddling through, causing the other sages to be under extreme pressure, unable to achieve a decisive advantage. Among the current sages I observe, only this old thing is so cowardly, having to be forced to go to the battlefield. In all likelihood, he's the one dragging down his comrades." "What?" Upon learning the inside story of the sages' battle, fury rose in Jiang Fan's eyes. That damned old dog. If only he had fought with all his might, the sage-level battle might have been decided long ago, the war would have stopped, and it wouldn't have cost so many lives. He clenched his fists. "Those unafraid of death, wait for me at the transmission array. I'll be right back." The crowd didn't wait long in the underground palace transmission array before Jiang Fan returned. Yet he was not alone. He was riding a white tiger, accompanied by an ordinary-looking disciple of the fire worship sect. It was Lin Zhenyu. Jiang Fan's eyes hid a murderous intent. This trip to Heavenly Heritage City is not only to kill those beasts, but also to accomplish something. Lin Zhenyu bowed with respect to the crowd. Greetings, venerate seniors. Jiang Fan concealed the oddity in his eyes and said, Zhenyu, stay close to me. I'll show you the world. Lin Zhenyu felt anxious inside, but his face showed delight. Thank you, senior, for guiding me. Jiang Fan surveyed the crowd. Since they all were unafraid of death, he could not persuade them further. He firmly grasped Yue Mingzheng's hand. Let's go and avenge forgetful wild elder. The crowd jumped onto the transmission array, arriving at the Qinshan bureau. Just as they appeared, Bai Xin came over. She was still wearing her silver soft armor, her dark hair tied up at the back of her head, and 2 strands of hair hanging beside her ears. Seeing Jiang Fan, her emotionless gaze rippled slightly. Where are you going? Jiang Fan's expression was calm, returning ruined state. Bai Xin shook her head. Can't go. The state-level teleportation array to returning ruined state has been destroyed. Jiang Fan's face slightly changed. It seems these half-giants also know that their end is near, and destroyed the transmission array to Heavenly Heritage City. It is believed that not only the formation from Taikang State to returning ruined state was destroyed. No state can now reach returning ruined state. Mingyi Usura King frowned. These cunning beasts! What should we do now? Without a state-level teleportation array, we can't reach returning ruined state. The crowd was troubled. Jiang Fan sneered. Do they think destroying the transmission array means they can rest easy? Dream on. He took out a map, which was the entire map of the southern heavenly realm given to Jiang Fan by the Jiangshan first-class building owner. Mingzhu, where is the connecting sky-black pillar in returning ruined state? Yue Mingzhu replied without hesitation, near the heavenly abyss 7 cities. What are you going to do? Jiang Fan unfolded the southern heavenly realm map, searched on it, and finally locked onto the sky above the heavenly abyss 7 cities as it corresponded to the southern heavenly realm. He chuckled. What do you think if we descend from the connecting sky-black pillar? Wouldn't they be particularly surprised? Understanding Jiang Fan's idea, the crowd was astonished by his sky-high plan. Upon closer thought, it was a very feasible method. The southern heavenly realm is weak right now, sparsely populated, no fear of being discovered. As long as they're fast enough to arrive at Heavenly Heritage City before the connecting sky-black pillar collapses, there will be no issue. Let's go, we shall also raid the heavenly realm. Xianxia, everyone decided to head straight to the connecting sky-black pillar of the fire worship sect. The White Tiger, as a great demon of the heavenly human 5 declines, led the group along the connecting sky-black pillar upwards. In just an hour, they reached the top. Jiang Fan looked around, realizing that the southern heavenly realm still had abundant spiritual energy, with majestic mountains and rivers. Above, there were still 9 suns. As he was observing the surroundings, suddenly a feather filled with the power of merit fell from the sky onto him. Everyone's eyes widened in surprise. The red demon venerable exclaimed, Merit. The heavenly realm bestowed merit upon you. Am I seeing things? The ice and fire demon lord stared blankly. Elder, your eyes aren't deceiving you. It is indeed merit, and a significant amount of it. In this catastrophe of our central earth, not many could earn so much merit. The others, like the true word venerable, also gazed at Jiang Fan in confusion. The sudden appearance of merit left everyone bewildered. The idea of central earth bestowing merit to Jiang Fan was not surprising. But the heavenly realm bestowing merit, was it appending the celestial order? Jiang Fan was also confused. He hadn't done anything in the heavenly realm at all. Who could possibly deserve merit instead of him? Watching the merit he couldn't absorb eventually enter the little Qilin, he was just as lost. Don't look at me, I don't understand what's going on either. The group exchanged bewildered glances. After a long pause, Jiang Fan suppressed his unease and said, Let's not worry about the merit for now. We must hurry, the connecting sky-black pillar won't last long. He dared not delay, took out a map to determine their location, and immediately directed the White Tiger to charge ahead. Just as they suspected, the southern heavenly realm was desolate, with hardly any ancient giants. After traveling for another hour and crossing a major tribe, they finally encountered a small giant clan tribe. All that remained inside were some elderly giants and a few small giants, around 7 to 8 meters tall. Noticing Jiang Fan and the others approaching, whether they were old giants or small ones, they all took up wolf fang clubs and hurled them with ferocity. Heart Demon Venerable coldly remarked, Even the old, weak, and women are so aggressive. Shubusu, who had spent considerable time in the heavenly realm, squinted and said, "The giant clan is a society of warriors. There's no such thing as the old, weak, and women among them. They are the fiercest hunters in the world. Give them a chance, and they'll devour you." In the eyes of the true word venerable, there was a flicker of understanding. She finally realized the significance of Jiang Fan's counterattack against the heavenly realm. If these small giants were not eradicated, given enough time to propagate, they would still bring catastrophe to Central Earth in a millennium. Everything Jiang Fan did was to establish everlasting peace. But Jiang Fan, watching the overwhelming number of incoming Wolf Fang clubs, had no mercy in his eyes. Purple thunder in hand, he swung out 1,000 Jiang sword chi, cutting the entire tribe and its giants in half. The noisy little tribe fell silent in destruction. Jiang Fan sheathed his sword without expression and said, "Let's move on." The others were slightly awed. Jiang Fan's demeanor towards the giants was the polar opposite of how he treated his own people. To his people, he was as pleasant as a spring breeze. To giants, he was like an incarnate Asura eradicating them all, along the way. They encountered more than a dozen small tribes, all exhibiting the same pattern. No matter young or old, they all fiercely attacked them. The result was inevitable. They were all annihilated by the purple sword chi. 2 hours later, they finally saw from afar the connecting sky-black pillar leading to the returning ruined state. Although it flickered unsteadily and was about to collapse, it was still usable. Everyone relaxed their expressions. They made it. If the connecting sky-black pillar collapsed, they would be trapped in the heavenly realm. Just as they were about to rush over, a faint voice drifted over. "No competition, no fight, everyone benefits peacefully." "Huh, huh," Jiang Fan's eyes widened. Wasn't this Wang Qingxiao's classic slogan for mischief? He thought he heard wrong. Wait, how long has Wang Qingxiao been in the heavenly realm? He still isn't dead, and he could still be lively enough to cause trouble. "Why is there a voice from the human clan?" the Red Demon Venerable asked in surprise. The true word venerable and others recalled a certain unlucky person Jiang Fan had left stranded in the heavenly realm. Wang Qingxiao. This guy was really screwed over by Jiang Fan, who repeatedly masqueraded under his name to confront the ancient giants. It wasn't hard to imagine the kind of life he led in the heavenly realm. They cast peculiar looks at Jiang Fan. "Ahem," Jiang Fan smiled awkwardly. "Red Demon Senior, that's my blood brother Wang Qingxiao. I've been looking everywhere for him, didn't expect he'd end up in the heavenly realm." The Red Demon Venerable nodded slightly, but the voice that followed from afar made her expression, too, become peculiar. "Don't worry, a promise from me, Jiang Fan, is as good as a nailed board. If I'm lying to you, may I be struck by lightning and die horribly." Pht, true word Venerable and Yue Mingzhu, who knew the inside story, covered their mouths and giggled. These two guys, they even have the same tactics for deceit. When doing good deeds, they saved their own lives. When committing mischief, they impersonated each other. Jiang Fan's face darkened. No way, when he impersonated Wang Qingxiao, he never took such vicious oaths. "Everyone, wait here briefly, I'll go see my old friend." Having said that, he grabbed the divine wood and executed the no-self dust cleansing technique, sneaking quietly forward. A massive crack appeared. In the depths, the spatial barrier of the heavenly realm was faintly visible. This was left from when 8 participants of the Great Wine Sacrifice charged into the heavenly realm to battle the 9-day giant emperor. Through the crack, an ancient snow-white building buried deep underground came into view. Wang Qingxiao and 2 dark Asura kings surrounded the building. At this moment, Wang Qingxiao had a divine ring at the back of his head, indicating he had already reached the divinity transformation realm. A clear flame mark was on the divine ring. Like Jiang Fan, he had also reached the heavenly human one decline realm. The 2 dark Asura kings were no ordinary beings, because they were both 5-crowned kings of hell. They appeared old with sinister demeanor, clearly not kind-hearted. The 3 were gazing at the ancient building. More accurately, it was a clock tower. Only the tower's top remained intact, embedded in the ground. Underneath the broken rooftop was a snow-white large bell, 1 zhang high, inscribed with complex patterns that, through millennia, still shimmered intermittently. A one-eyed 5-crowned Asura king drew a sharp breath. "Jiang Fan, you didn't deceive us. The defensive boundary artifact of the angel clan from millennia ago, the immortal king's undying bell, is truly here. Though severely damaged from the battle back then and worn by endless time, it remains a quasi-realm artifact." The other 5-crowned Asura king's eyes burned with fervor, his expression barely concealing excitement. It said that when the immortal king's undying bell was intact, it could capture the laws of the human clan's sages, the curses of the giant emperor, and the causes and effects of the Asura emperor. Overpowering countless world artifacts in 3 realms, its might is unmatched. Now reduced to a quasi-realm artifact, it's uncertain if it still has the power to capture. Asura kings couldn't wait to start digging. Wang Qingye stopped them, saying, "Two seniors, let's first discuss how to share this bell, shall we? The bell is only one piece. It can't be divided into 3 parts. How about this? I'll keep the bell, and in return, I'll compensate you with another treasure." One of the 5-crowned Asura kings gave him a sinister glare, a murderous intent flashing in his eyes. But the other 5-crowned Asura king restrained him and sent a message in the unique way of the Asura clan, saying, "Don't act rashly. This kid dares to seek treasures with us. He must have some reliance. Before the immortal king's undying bell is excavated, it's not advisable to make a move. Let's hold him steady first." The 5-crowned Asura king smiled and said, "As you said, harmony brings wealth. This immortal king's undying bell was discovered by Jiang Daoyu first, so naturally. You have the priority. I wonder what you plan to compensate us with?" Wang Qingye took out 2 natural space storage devices and tossed them to them. The 2 received them in astonishment and looked inside. Their pupils constricted sharply, and they exclaimed in shock, "Breath soil? So much breath soil. Our Dark Shura clan has searched the southern heavenly realm, and even our 10,000 years accumulation doesn't compare. Did you discover the angel clan's old imperial court and move the entire garden here?" The 2 5-crowned Asura kings lost their composure, their emotions running high. Wang Qingye smiled without speaking. "Just let me know if you're satisfied with this compensation." The 2 5-crowned Asura kings exchanged a look and nodded in unison. "No problem." Now, even if they just got this much breath soil, they would still be willing. Of course, taking the immortal king's undying bell would be even better. Wang Qingye said, "Then I leave it to you 2 to excavate this bell. There remains the power of laws within this bell. I cannot touch it lightly, so it's up to you." The 2 5-crowned Asura kings understood. If not for this, Wang Qingye wouldn't have given them such an opportunity. Immediately, each took out a cause and effect bestowed by the Dark Asura Emperor. It was comparable to the laws of the Central Earth people, with immense power. Cause and effect. After they activated it, they wielded Asura power to grasp the immortal king's undying bell. Then they gave it a tremendous lift. With a booming sound, the immortal king's undying bell was pulled out from the earth that had cradled it for millennia. Immediately, bell tolls echoed violently. Splendid and frightening tangible law power rushed towards the 2 5-crowned Asura kings as the first target. The cause and effect power on them burned rapidly, resisting the law power's invasion. Wang Qingye also took out a shield filled with holy aura, blocking it in front of him, nullifying the residual laws. When the bell rang to a stop, the surrounding laws faded. The immortal king's undying bell successfully emerged. However, this also meant deciding who the bell ultimately belonged to. The 2 5-crowned Asura kings exchanged a quick glance, a ruthless glint flashing in their eyes. Their bloodlines activated simultaneously, releasing countless threads, shooting towards Wang Qingye, intending to make him a puppet. They didn't want to kill Wang Qingye just yet, because it was clear he still had many good things on him, as they made their move unexpectedly. Wang Qingye also acted. He held a snow-white jade-like broken staff, pointed it remotely at each, and said, "Still." An eerie scene unfolded. The 2 5-crowned Asura kings were actually immobilized right there and then. Not only were their bodies immobilized, but even their thoughts were frozen, becoming unknowing and unfeeling people. Wang Qingye chuckled. "You 2 fools, do you really think Wang Qingye would conspire with a tiger? If I dared to let you come, I was not afraid of you turning against me." He approached the 2 of them, retrieved the 2 space storage devices filled with breath soil, and snorted. "This breath soil was something I risked my life to obtain. You really think you'd get it for free? If I took this to the northern heavenly state, those 2 9-winged great angels would be restless." Then he looked eagerly at the immortal king's undying bell before him, exclaiming with excitement. The map found in that underground palace didn't lie. The immortal king's undying bell was indeed buried around here. "Oh my, this is one of the strongest world artifacts in the heavenly realm, and now it's mine." He walked up, caressing the immortal king's undying bell, reluctant to let go. "With this bell in the southern heavenly realm, I'm not afraid of anyone. Haha, speaking of which, I still have to thank Jiang Fan. If it weren't for him, how could I have picked up so many treasures in the southern heavenly realm? If he knew, would he not be spitting blood out of anger? Ha ha ha, while laughing, a thud sounded. He suddenly felt a pain in his head, this damned familiar feeling. Wang Qingxiao staggered but quickly steadied his heart spirit, laughing in anger. Jiang Fan, it's you again. He was already used to every time he tricked someone, Jiang Fan would be there, like a mantis stalking the cicada, and the oriole was behind. But you wouldn't expect I specifically trained in the iron head skill to guard against your sneak attacks. Thunk. Thunk, 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 thunk. Pain surged through Wang Qingxiao's head, and before he could savor it, he blacked out and fell to the ground. He foamed at the mouth, convulsing spasmodically. Behind him, Jiang Fan emerged from the no-self dust-cleansing technique. He shrugged and said, "Sorry, but my stick has also been upgraded." He approached the immortal king's undying bell, eyes full of delight. If he heard correctly just now, this bell in its prime state could extract others' power of laws. If so, wouldn't his Tai Chu prison sky gourd no longer have any limits? To avoid any unforeseen events, Jiang Fan didn't dare to examine it closely. He simply stored the immortal king's undying bell in the space storage device. Then, he picked up Wang Qingxiao's snow-white shield and jade staff from the ground. His eyes were equally ablaze with passion. He had witnessed firsthand Wang Qingxiao using the shield to block the aftermath of the laws, yet remaining unscathed. A great treasure taken. As for this jade staff, it was heaven-defyingly incredible. It directly immobilized the two five-crowned Asura kings and still hasn't been undone. A magnificent treasure. Taken. Subsequently, Jiang Fan searched Wang Qingxiao and found the two space storage devices containing breath soil and decisively collected them. The material of these clothes is pretty good, and it's a top-grade spiritual artifact. Even better than mine, outrageous. Off with them, these pants sparkle with spirit light must mean something. Off with them. As for these underwear, forget it, brothers in arms, I'll leave him something. Jiang Fan knew when to stop. As for the two five-crowned Asura kings, Jiang Fan dared not wait for them to wake up. With 81 strikes for each, they spewed foam at the mouth and fainted to the ground. Only then did he pull Tian Qin out and split a section of immortal binding vine from her, tying the two together. Tian Qin looked at the two Asura kings' compatriots, blinking. Am I imagining things because of that little demon? I seem to see two elders from the afar heavenly realm. Jiang Fan nodded and said, Yes, I was afraid you'd be lonely by yourself, so I brought you compatriots from the heavenly realm. Tian Qin looked around, sensing the rich spiritual energy of the heavenly realm, and exclaimed in shock. You ran to the heavenly realm? Jiang Fan said. About to head back soon, all right, go wait inside. He tossed all three into the space mirror. Finally, he took one last look at Wang Qingxiao, now left with nothing but underwear, smiled slightly, clasped his hands, and said, Farewell, brother Wang, until we meet again. Fan reunited with the others. The Red Demon Venerable looked at him with a strange expression. Judging by your appearance, it looks like you had quite the haul. Jiang Fan stifled a laugh and waved his hands repeatedly. No, it was just a little catch-up. Yue Mingzhu couldn't help but smile and gently pressed down the corners of Jiang Fan's upturned mouth with her slender jade fingers. As soon as she let go, they curled up again. She laughed and said, How many treasures have you acquired that your mouth curls up and won't stay down? Jiang Fan coughed lightly, covering his face with his sleeve, and said, Nothing of the sort, hurry down, the connecting sky-black pillar won't hold for long. With his urging, the white tiger charged forward again. Yue Mingzhu covered her mouth with a laugh, turned her head to glance in the direction of the great rift, and a flash of nine-colored brilliance flickered in her eyes. As if she saw something, she couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Is this the same person? His fortune has multiplied several times over. The last time she checked on Wang Qingxiao's fortune, it was already massive, comparable to the entire Taikang state. Looking at it now, it was at least as strong as 4 or 5 Taikang states combined. Estimating it, it doesn't lag behind the entire heavenly state. What on earth is this guy's background? Yue Mingzhu was shocked beyond measure. She had never seen any being with such terrifying fortune. Even sages and giant emperors couldn't reach this level. Despite her shock, as Wang Qingxiao was about to disappear from her view, her beautiful eyes turned. Jiang Fan has been working so hard lately, he deserves some replenishment. She quickly cast a spell in secret, slicing a chunk off Wang Qingxiao's fortune. A vast fortune, piled like a mountain, was cut off and transferred into Jiang Fan's body. As Jiang Fan was counting his treasures, he suddenly felt an indescribable comfort, as if after a full-body massage. Indeed, when good things happen, the mind is at ease. Jiang Fan chuckled, setting up a barrier around him, and quietly explored the two space storage devices. He thought that for someone like him, who already had breath soil, these two space storage devices wouldn't impress him. Who knew that after sifting through the breath soil in them, he was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. His breath soil was only the size of a fist, barely accommodating the divine wood, fixed seed, and immortal binding vine. But the combined breath soil in these two space storage devices amounted to a whole acre. Jiang Fan was dumbfounded for a while. How much could one plant here? The top-tier heavenly materials and earthly treasures seeds from the heavenly realm, central earth, and hell realm might not even fill it. He secretly got excited. Looks like I'll have to pay attention to collecting seeds in the future, and whatever I grow that's useful to me I'll use. Otherwise, I'll sell them to Qingye at a high price. Moreover, the breath soil can be reused indefinitely, meaning I practically have a gold mine producing gold endlessly. He merged the two breath soil into one and stowed it into a space storage device. Then he scrutinized the jade rod he had obtained. This item was defying the odds, allowing Wang Qingxiao, at just the heavenly person decline, to immobilize two heavenly human 5 declines. If he had this magical treasure, battles in the central earth at the divinity transformation realm might become much easier. Upon closer inspection, he noticed Angel Clan text on it. Fortunately, during his time at the 10,000 Tribulations Holy Temple, he was forced by the white-robed skeleton to learn the Angel Clan script. He recognized it without any hindrance. Immortal fixing jade branch, Jiang Fan murmured, carefully observing, realizing it really was a tree branch. Someone had infused the time freeze law into it. This was why it could immobilize someone along with their thoughts when used. However, the time freeze law within it had been mostly depleted by Wang Qingxiao. It probably could only immobilize two heavenly human 5 declines at most. Jiang Fan felt a pang of distress. Wang Qingxiao, how could you squander my stuff like that? If it's not yours, you don't cherish it, is that it? Once the time freeze law within is exhausted, Jiang Fan would have nowhere else to replenish it from. Carefully putting it away, Jiang Fan then turned his attention to the shield. This shield was in good condition. In future battles against sage-level opponents, at least their shockwaves wouldn't be unbearable. Finally, there was the immortal king's undying bell. It was riddled with cracks and severely damaged, yet it still ranked as a quasi-realm artifact. Ordinary magic artifacts in such a state would mostly become mere scrap metal. This shows that its complete state must have been an immensely powerful world artifact. Noticing there was still a lot of sand on it, he used divinity transformation power to clean it. However, as he washed the inside with divinity transformation power, a large lump of black stuff fell out. Initially, he thought it was black sand. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a severed hand. After washing away the black impurities on it, a smooth and jade-like, long-fingered, beautiful hand appeared. At first glance, it looked like a woman's hand. Remarkably, the hand seemed lifelike, as if it was freshly severed. How could it look like something buried underground for millennia? A huge shock struck Jiang Fan's heart. He had seen the remains of the misfortune sage, which, although intact, looked dim from a millennium of time, clearly a corpse at first glance. The severed hand before him, however, appeared very much alive. He didn't dare to guess what level of being this hand belonged to. He even stepped back cautiously, extremely wary. He took out a disposable top-grade spiritual artifact and carefully poked at it to ensure the severed hand posed no threat before he dared to slowly extend his finger and touch it bit by bit. Finally confident there were no issues, he picked it up. The hand's 5 fingers were in a tight grip but couldn't completely grasp closed. It was as if something was held in its palm. Jiang Fan's heart raced. If such a being would tightly clutch something upon death, how could it be ordinary? He tried to pry open the fingers, but they seemed fused to the palm, refusing to budge. He considered using the flawless domain or destroying the hand, but the thought was quashed as quickly as it came. Handling an unknown entity's severed hand recklessly might not be wise. It could lead to unpredictable risks besides gaining nothing. Mindful of this, he took out a spare space storage device and placed the severed hand in it. Surprisingly, as soon as the hand went inside, the space storage device instantly shattered. The severed hand fell from the void, landing on Jiang Fan's leg. Jiang Fan broke out in a cold sweat. The space storage device couldn't contain this severed hand. He tried 2 more times, each with the same result. All the space storage devices were crushed. "Whose hand is this?" Jiang Fan was stunned. He thought the immortal king's undying bell was the greatest find, but it turned out to be this severed hand. Since the space storage device couldn't hold it, he could only carry it on his person, tucking it into his sleeve. When Qingye arrives, he'll ask if she has any magical treasures specifically for prying things open. "We've arrived at the connecting sky-black pillar," Yue Mingzhu reminded him. Her face had long lost its smile, flames of anger burning in her eyes. Jiang Fan also withdrew the barrier, stood up, and looked at the connecting sky-black pillar before him, saying, "Let's go give them a surprise." The group had just departed not long ago. From the great rift, Xianxia woke up slowly, clutching his head. Oh right, I was exploring the immortal king's undying bell, and I even got my hands on it." He excitedly sat up, but all he saw was an empty scene. As the memories came flooding back, his face gradually turned dark. "Jiang Fan, it's you again, damn it. This is the heavenly realm, not Central Earth. How could I run into you here?" As he roared, a gust of wind blew by, and he felt a chill all over his body. Looking down, he was furious. "You only left me with a pair of shorts? Why don't you just take everything? Leaving me with shorts, am I supposed to thank you?" Enraged, his vision darkened, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He had worked hard in the heavenly realm, all for Jiang Fan to reap the benefits. After a long while, he calmed down, his fists clenched tightly. "I am no gentleman if I don't seek revenge. Just wait until I find some great killing devices in the heavenly realm, then I'll return to Central Earth to settle the score with you." Suddenly, the ground beneath shook violently, as if something was tearing through the space barrier of the heavenly realm, trying to enter from there. Xianxia quickly cast the mysterious spell he had obtained, instantly merging himself with the surrounding stone walls, leaving only 2 eyeballs rotating outside. Boom! A loud cracking noise. A horrifying void rift appeared below. Everything in the canyon was instantly pulled into it. Even the canyon walls on both sides began to sway, on the verge of falling into the void. Xianxia was terrified. Fortunately, a group of golden giant emperors returned with hordes of giant remnants, closing the void rift again. Leading them was the 6-sun giant emperor. Behind him were 3 one-day giant emperors and the 10 sins of Central Earth. The condition of the sleeping giant emperor was not good. His supposedly massive body had become thin as a bone, losing most of its flesh and blood. The cursed sun wheel on his forehead had dimmed, almost extinguished. Thud, the sleeping giant emperor collapsed powerlessly to the ground, feeling apprehensive. "Emperor, what was that thing? Outside the space barrier of Central Earth, why is there such a horrifying thing?" The faces of several giant emperors and the 10 sins of Central Earth changed, and the faces of the giant kings they rescued turned pale. The rescue operation by the giant emperors and 10 sins of Central Earth had been smooth. More than 100 giant kings had been found, and they had gathered 2,000 to 3,000 ancient giants. Although the casualties were still heavy, at least they preserved some fireseed for the heavenly realm. Who knew a strange lotus suddenly appeared. Its long stem could extend indefinitely, sweeping and entangling a large number of giants. Then, in an instant, draining them into dried husks. The sleeping giant emperor made a move but was also entangled by the stem, draining him of all his flesh and blood. If the 6-sun giant emperor had not returned in time and driven it away, he would have been sucked dry as a giant emperor husk. Even so, the remnants they had painstakingly gathered were devoured by that lotus. Only a mere 20-some giant kings and over 1,000 ancient giants were lucky enough to be saved. 6-sun giant emperor's face was unspeakably grim. "That's called the Black Lotus of Tribulation, an ancient presence from the time when the Hell Realm was created," the sleeping giant emperor said. "No wonder it's so powerful." 6-sun giant emperor said heavily, "It's only a seedling. If it were mature, I would have been left behind too." "What?" The giants drew in a cold breath. The seedling of the Black Lotus of Tribulation was already terrifying. What about the mature form? The sleeping giant emperor felt a wave of fear, angrily saying, "This Black Lotus of Tribulation is also a conspiracy of the Central Earth humans. They submerged Hun Yuan and arranged a Black Lotus of Tribulation to guard the void, relentlessly exterminating any giants that fall in. Those venomous Central Earth people." 6-sun giant emperor looked up at the sky, eyes filled with unspeakable rage. "The defeat in this battle is half my responsibility and half the fault of that Jiang Fan human. If he is not killed, our countless heavenly realm clansmen will not rest in peace." Notify the Dark Shura clan to assemble assassins to infiltrate Central Earth before the connecting sky black pillar dissipates, and get Jiang Fan's head. The giant's eyes were filled with killing intent. If there were no Jiang Fan in Central Earth, they would never have lost. Just then, a giant king questioned, "Emperor, is he really named Jiang Fan or Wang Qingxiao? He has come to the heavenly realm twice posing as Wang Qingxiao." Meanwhile, there's always a human in the heavenly realm pretending to be Jiang Fan, causing chaos everywhere. Who is truly Jiang Fan and who is Wang Qingxiao? Six-Sun Giant Emperor said coldly. If you can't tell, then don't bother, kill them both. Thud, Wang Qingxiao felt his chest tighten, unable to spit out the blood he wanted to. No, you ought to figure it out. Jiang Fan is Jiang Fan, Wang Qingxiao is Wang Qingxiao. Don't you understand the principle of having rightful revenge and debt retribution? Worse yet, Six-Sun Giant Emperor named him, and now he faces pursuit from the entire heavenly realm. Many in the Dark Shura clan know about his existence. If they are ordered to assassinate him, the heavenly realm will be unlivable. Wanting to stay in the heavenly realm to continue treasure hunting is nearly impossible. Jiang Fan, oh Jiang Fan, you took my things and ruined my career. You're going to pay for this. Wang Qingxiao cursed under his breath. In Central Earth, returning ruins state. The lead city among the 7 cities of Heavenly Abyss, Tianshu City. Zhu Qianzhang stood with his hands behind his back, overlooking the battlefield ahead. The half-giants were fiercely battling against the human clan led by Star Mountain. The outcome was obvious. Of course, it was one-sided in favor of the half-giants. Because in prior battles, the ancient giants attacked only the humans of the Western continent, and although the Star Mountain Lord led the human clan to victory, they suffered heavy casualties. On the other hand, the Eastern continent where Heavenly Heritage City was located was not attacked by the ancient giants. Plus, they stood by during the war, suffering no casualties. With strength waning on one side and waxing on the other, wasn't the power disparity obvious? Looking at the retreating humans, a smirk formed at the corner of Zhu Qianzhang's mouth, revealing a look of arrogance. From now on, returning ruined state will be the territory of us half-giants. You humans will either become our slaves or die. Meanwhile, a trusted giant rushed over with joy. Blood General, we have successfully destroyed all unauthorized transmission arrays. In the short term, no state will be able to send people here. Zhu Qianzhang gently nodded and said, "Indeed, the sage is farsighted." The moment the giant soldiers were defeated, he secretly sent an urgent message to destroy the official transmission array as well as all unauthorized ones, preventing human retaliation. When the sage returns, we will proclaim to the world, emulating that continent, prohibiting all outsiders from entering, killing anyone who comes. Henceforth, us half-giants will be completely safe. The trusted giant looked regretfully at the nearby connecting sky black pillar. Actually, the best solution is to go to the heavenly realm. That truly is the homeland of us half-giants' dreams. Sadly, those Central Earth humans lucked out and won the war. The connecting sky black pillar is about to dissipate, and we can't make it to the heavenly realm. With the speed of ordinary nascent soul realm cultivators, reaching the heavenly realm through the connecting sky black pillar would take a minimum of 5 days. Clearly, the connecting sky black pillar won't last until then. Thus, they can only settle for the next best, which is the independence of returning ruined state. Pillar, his eyes full of regret. We half-giants are children who have been wandering outside for thousands of years, and this time there was originally a chance to return to the embrace of our ancestors. But alas, they were unlucky and couldn't win against the human clan. After a pause, he changed his tone. However, we have already gained the recognition of our ancestors. In this great war, we helped their main force reach the battlefield. Just for this great merit alone, they will not forget us. As long as we half-giants endure until the next millennium, they will definitely take us back to the heavenly realm. By then, we half-giants will be completely liberated. His confidant deeply agreed. This was not just Zhu Qianzhang's opinion, but the consensus of the half-giants. They never considered themselves, like the Central Earth humans, to be prey of the ancient giants. On the contrary, they should be hunters, just like the ancient giants. The heavenly realm is their true homeland. They were just unlucky, left behind in Central Earth. Roar, roar, suddenly a fierce cheer erupted from the battlefield ahead. Zhu Qianzhang looked up and found that the last line of defense of the human clan had been breached, their side defeated and fleeing. The half-giants cheered as they hunted them down. They were extremely excited, as if hunting, smashing the humans with their clubs, causing massive casualties. A ferocious smile emerged on Zhu Qianzhang's face. Pass the order, kill all the men, leave the women. Especially Ziwei Fairy, the first beauty of returning ruined state, don't hurt her pretty face. His confidant sneered. Yes, I'll capture Ziwei Fairy now, let Blood General have the first taste. He leaped into the battlefield. Zhu Qianzhang raised the corners of his mouth, looking playfully at the screaming human clans. Right then, the connecting sky-black pillar beside him shook, and he looked up to find that a violent wind was surging. It seemed as if something was coming down from above. Zhu Qianzhang became excited. Could it be the ancestors are coming down? Do they have something to instruct us half-giants, or are they here to take us away? Under his watch, a massive white object fell from the sky, crashing heavily onto the ground. It was a white tiger, towering 60 feet high like a mountain, exuding the terrifying aura of heavenly human 5 declines. On the white tiger stood humans and members of the Asura clan. Leading them was a young man, standing alone on the tiger's head, staring coldly down at him. Sorry, it's not your ancestors who have come. But I can show you mercy and send you to meet your ancestors underground. Damn these half-giants, still dreaming of their ancestors coming to pick them up in the next millennium. Zhu Qianzhang's pupils constricted. Jiang Fan? Who didn't recognize Jiang Fan, the butcher who slaughtered over half the Dharma Image Realm half-giants in Heavenly Heritage City. He was confused. How did you all come from the Heavenly Realm? With a thought, Jiang Fan instantly appeared before him. He calmly drew out purple thunder with a wave of his hand. The smooth sword body reflected his gradually coldening face. You blocked the state-level teleportation array, so of course, we had no choice but to cross the Heavenly Realm. Zhu Qianzhang's heart pounded violently. Indeed, the visitor meant harm. He retreated a few steps, trying his luck. He swallowed hard and said, Starfarer Venerable, what can I do for you and the esteemed venerables who have come from afar? As he spoke, he secretly activated an emergency messaging magic artifact hidden in his arms. However, just as the wave from the artifact was transmitted, Jiang Fan shattered it with one stroke. Jiang Fan coldly stared at him and said, There's no need to notify the compassionate sage. Whether he comes or not, you'll all have to die. Swish, 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 Yue Mingzhu, true word venerable, and others instantly appeared by Jiang Fan's side. Except for Yue Mingzhu and Lin Zhenyu, the rest were of divinity transformation level, exuding an overwhelming invincible aura. The killing intent on them was undisguised. Zhu Qianzhang was flustered. He shouted angrily but inwardly weak. Starfarer Venerable, watch your words and actions. Killing us half-giants, speaking such rebellious words, have you considered the consequences? Swish. Jiang Fan placed a sword against his throat, his eyes cold and determined. Not only will I kill you all present, but I will also slaughter all the half-giants in Heavenly Heritage City, ensuring there are no more half-giants on the land of Central Earth. What? Zhu Qianzhang was terrified. Jiang Fan, are you mad? We are also beings of Central Earth. Have you asked the sages before you slaughter us? Have you asked the ancient saints? Jiang Fan said indifferently. When you devoured the 7 cities of Heavenly Abyss, assisted the main forces of the Giant King, intending to annihilate the humans of the Western continent, did you ask the sages? Did you ask the ancient saints? Half-giants, there's no need to disguise anymore. You're a cancer and Central Earth can no longer tolerate you. He raised purple thunder high. Zhu Qianzhang was seized with fear. Don't kill me. Starfarer Venerable, I was just following orders. My heart still belongs to Central Earth. Please give me a chance to reform. I promise I will. He hoped to stall for time, waiting for the compassionate sage to return. Yet, in the next moment his neck felt a chill and his massive head rolled to the ground. A pair of eyes widened gradually, full of immense shock and unwillingness. With a swoosh, a half-dim, half-transparent soul flew out. Zhu Qianzhang's soul, too terrified, attempted to escape into the void, not daring to utter a harsh word in front of the Venerable. But as soon as he entered the void, a string of Buddha beads entwined his soul. Jiang Fan took out the life-changing jade disc and amid his screams, thrust his soul into a hole. A faint red light immediately lit up. The souls of half of their human clan were enough to light one hole. Not only do I plan to kill you all, but also extract the souls of your golden body realm half-giants. Jiang Fan put away the life-changing jade disc, turned and said, Everyone, when killing them, be sure to capture their souls. I have a big use for them. Heart Demon Venerable had long been unable to hold back, saying, Let's kill all the half-giants on the scene first. The others also instantly moved to the battlefield. Jiang Fan reached out and held Yue Mingzhu's hand. Let's go. To avenge forgetful Wild Elder. Yue Mingzhu took out a bundle of black silk threads, which turned out to be a top-grade spiritual artifact. This is the top-grade spiritual artifact personally commissioned by my master in divine weapon state. I haven't used it before today. Let's inaugurate it with the half-giants. Jiang Fan, with a thought, took Yue Mingzhu directly to the battlefield. Somewhere on the battlefield, a young girl in a vibrant red long dress, wearing a mask, wielded her long sword, struggling to fend off several golden body realm half-giants. Although she had already broken through to the 7-orifice nascent soul, the half-giants attacking her were at 8 orifices level. With the attack of 4 half-giants, she was quickly severely injured. Blood General's order is that Ziwei Fairy must be captured alive. That confidant arrived, maliciously pressing down with a palm. His palm, the size of a yard, easily grabbed Ziwei Fairy. There was no ripple in Ziwei Fairy's eyes. She had long prepared for this. Her sleeve flicked, activating a potent explosion talisman. She intended not only to blow up the surrounding half-giants, but also to destroy herself along with them. Better to die than to fall into the hands of these filthy half-giants. Demon race, but just as the rune was about to detonate, a bloodline suddenly appeared without warning on the bodies of the few golden body realm half-giants surrounding her. High ones on the chest, low ones on the neck, as if something sharp had simultaneously sliced through their bodies. Then, their bodies fell into 2 halves, plummeting to the ground. The ones with severed heads died instantly, while those cut across the chest rolled on the ground, uttering screams of utter despair. Various blood and viscera gushed out, drenching Ziwei Fairy from head to toe. She looked up and saw a pair, a young man and a woman, holding hands and flying past above her. The girl was pretty, holding a black thread in her hand. The boy, handsome and slender, was tightly holding the girl's hand, silently infusing her with the power of divinity transformation, greatly empowering her thread. Ziwei Fairy was stunned. Jiang Fan, Yue Mingzhu. At this moment, Jiang Fan glanced at her, but with her body covered in dirty blood and entrails, she was no longer recognizable. Jiang Fan withdrew his gaze and flew past with Yue Mingzhu. Ziwei Fairy fell into silence, her eyes filled with an indiscernible emotion. Had even Yue Mingzhu joined Jiang Fan? She laughed at herself self-deprecatingly. Her heart ached a bit, yet there was comfort. Jiang Fan didn't recognize her. That's good. She shakily climbed up, clutching her wounded chest, turned to watch Jiang Fan and Yue Mingzhu wreak havoc, and after a long while limped away into a remote corner, slowly disappearing into the void. Jiang Fan did not notice. He held Yue Mingzhu's hand, walking through the battlefield, helping Yue Mingzhu kill one half-giant after another. The Golden Body Realm in Heavenly Heritage City totaled over 2,000, more than the entire Taikang state combined. How could Central Earth have raised so many traitorous wolves? Jiang Fan recalled the desperation of Taikang state against Black Sun Royal Court. Countless 8th and 9th orifices flying into the flames like moths, striving for a sliver of hope for them. Looking at these traitorous wolves slaughtering their people, his hatred surpassed that towards the ancient giant. Flawless domain! He swept across with a domain. All injured half-giants exploded into blood mist on the spot. Starfear Venerable, don't misunderstand, we're all on the same side. A half-giant that fell injured to the ground said in horror. Jiang Fan replied with distaste. Who is on the same side as you? With a slicing sound, head fell, the guilty blood splattered. Jiang Fan, if we've done anything wrong, compassionate sage will punish us, it's not your place. With a slicing sound, another head soared into the sky. Don't kill me, I'll leave Heavenly Heritage City and join your Central Earth human clan. With a slicing sound, yet another head soared into the sky. Jiang Fan coldly said, only hell is fit for beasts like you. As the divinity transformation realms entered the battlefield, slaughtering half-giants, the wildly jubilant army of half-giants finally realized something was wrong. It's the human clan's divinity transformation venerables. How did they get here? Aren't the state-level teleportation arrays all shut? The giant army panicked, and the terrifying screams from all around made their hearts lurch. Just then, an aura of a demon monarch suddenly burst forth from a nearby corner. Fellow Taoists, please show mercy. Jiang Fan and others paused one after another, looking in surprise at this sudden divinity transformation realm demon monarch. The ice and fire demon lord glanced at the other side, saying in a deep voice, Are you from the demon continent's demon race? What are you doing here? Seeing demons among the group, the appearing demon monarch slightly sighed in relief. He cupped his hands, saying, I am Hun Feng from the demon continent. My lord is Black Dragon Venerable. Currently, we're guests at Heavenly Heritage City. With the backing of a demon monarch, the spirits of the half-giant army stabilized. They raised their chin defiantly at Jiang Fan and the others, their eyes filled with arrogance. Really think Heavenly Heritage City is easy to handle. Also think about why our city lord would take away all the Dharma image realm half-giants. You never expected that our Heavenly Heritage City would have esteemed guests in residence, did you? Upon hearing this, everyone's countenance changed slightly. Black Dragon Venerable, he was actually in Heavenly Heritage City. Jiang Fan also showed surprise. No wonder they hadn't seen a trace of Black Dragon Venerable during the battle until now. Turns out he led his confidants and hid in Heavenly Heritage City. Standing with hands behind his back, Hun Feng said calmly, "Everyone, let the matter of returning Ruin's state resolve itself on its own. Why should we Venerables intervene? I hope you will grant me a little favor and not make things difficult for these poor half-giants." Everyone looked towards Jiang Fan. They had no hesitation killing half-giants, but Black Dragon Venerable and numerous demon monarchs were naturally pure Central Earth's beings. How should they deal with them? Jiang Fan raised his hand, summoning 3 top-grade spirit swords to encircle in front of him, expression indifferent. "Give you face, not make things difficult for the poor half-giants, is that right?" With that said, the 3 spirit swords suddenly merged into a divine rainbow and fiercely struck. Unprepared, Hun Feng immediately performed instantaneous movement, but still had an entire arm severed by the terrifying divine rainbow. In an instant, divinity transformation blood essence sprayed. He appeared in shock and anger, exclaiming in pain, "Are you crazy? I'm just pleading. If you disagree, then fine, but why attack me?" Jiang Fan coldly replied, "When the humans in the Western continent were being slaughtered unilaterally by half-giants, why didn't you plead on behalf of humanity? Now that the half-giants are in trouble, you jump out playing the good guy?" The group under Black Dragon Venerable almost led to the destruction of the entire demon continent by opening the interlayer world for the Black Lotus of Tribulation seeds. Now secretly protecting the half-giants, occupying the entire returning Ruins state. Allowed them to massacre humans led by Star Mountain. Shamelessly pretending neutrality, wanting to save face now. Red Demon Venerable sneered. "Jiang always makes sense. What are you that we should grant you face? Today, the half-giants must die." Hun Feng was full of anger, but, looking at the killing intent in the eyes of the various divinity transformation venerables, didn't dare oppose them. He glanced at the half-giant army, gritted his teeth, and said, "Fine, I won't interfere with their business anymore." "Good luck." He had to quickly return for reinforcements, saying he had to protect the half-giants no matter what. Heavenly Heritage City was the last refuge for these demon traitors, not to be destroyed. Unexpectedly. Suddenly, 3-colored light flashed in front of him, and that terrifying divine rainbow struck again. This time he couldn't dodge and was sliced in half by the divine rainbow sword. "Ah," in screams, his soul flew out furious. "I was leaving and you still went for the kill?" All he got in response was Jiang Fan's icy cold glare. "Those who shield the half-giants share the same crime." Soul-shocking stab. An arrow shot out from his brow, hitting the opponent. Hun Feng's face changed dramatically. His soul body quickly fled into the void, but was immediately struck by the soul nail, perishing on the spot. Its terrified cries echoed faintly from the void. "Black Dragon Venerable, save me!" As the sound abruptly ceased, a world-class powerhouse in the demon monarch realm fell on the spot. Jiang Fan's gaze slowly moved, looking towards the half-giants on the ground, his voice chilling like it came from hell itself. "Today, nothing will save you. I swear it." As soon as he finished speaking, the purple sword in his hand swept across. In an instant, over a dozen half-giants were all cut in half at the waist, their shrill screams and cries of pain echoing through the sky. Their defiant expressions faded, once again falling into immense panic. The subordinates of Black Dragon Venerable, Jiang Fan killed without hesitation. There was absolutely no one left to protect them. "Retreat. Retreat quickly. Return to Heavenly Heritage City, there's a sage's array there. We'll be safe if we can get back." "Ah!" As the words were still in his mouth, this half-giant was turned into minced meat by the Red Demon Venerable from afar. She had an expression of coldness. "You still want to go back? None of you will leave today." The rest of the divinity transformation realm also made their moves, and half-giants exploded into bloody mist all over the battlefield. The human clan Nascent Soul from Star Mountain and various sects were full of excitement seeing the divinity transformation realm from Taikang State coming to their aid. Looking at the half-giants retreating like a tide, they all unleashed boundless hatred. What are you waiting for? Let's kill all these beasts together. At this moment, the human clan of the Western continent, harboring millennia of resentment, completely settled the score with the half-giants. The half-giants scattered in panic and fled on the spot. Among them were those who roared with grief and indignation, feeling they were noble hunters and should not have fallen into being slaughtered. There were also those who regretted not waiting for the sages to return before conquering the entire continent. There were also those who swore that once they recovered, they would seek their revenge 100-fold, but none sincerely repented for their actions. However, in the face of divinity transformation realm, their escape was meaningless. Half a day later, Jiang Fan fought his way from the 7 cities of the heavenly abyss all the way to the eastern continent. Splat, the last half-giant of the 9 orifices' golden body, collapsed unwillingly. He glared resentfully at Jiang Fan. "Our sage will not let you go." Jiang Fan swept his sword, beheading him. With that, all the rebellious golden body realm half-giants were annihilated. At this time, the nascent soul expert from Star Mountain arrived, looking at their once-admired object of reverence with exhilaration. Disciple of Star Mountain, pays respect to Starfear Venerable. Back then, Jiang Fan was still a peer who had crossed the heavenly realm twice. Now he was a renowned divinity transformation expert who swayed the winds and clouds of Central Earth. The changes were so great, they felt as if they were dreaming. Jiang Fan looked at them, inevitably thinking of Ziwei Fairy, yet found none of her people. Could it be that she didn't participate in this battle? Shaking his head, he dismissed the distracting thoughts. It was no time to be concerned about Su Yining. He looked back. The half-giant corpses stretched for thousands of miles, the river and mountains stained with blood. He couldn't help but feel disgusted. A group of sinners' blood tainted our Central Earth's land. Fellows from Star Mountain, please clean up the battlefield and destroy their bodies, leaving not a drop of their blood in Central Earth. Furthermore, all loot belongs to you. The disciples of Star Mountain and the strong from various sects were all excited. These half-giants occupied the eastern continent and usually plundered. Who knows how many resources they had on them? Respectful venerables didn't want them, so it all became their gain. We obey the decree of Starfear Venerable. Red Demon Venerable and others also arrived, exchanging a glance with Jiang Fan, saying nothing, and instantaneously moved towards Heavenly Heritage City. The slaughter of the half-giants had reached this stage. How could it end in a loose thread? Heavenly Heritage City. In the City Lord Mansion. Black Dragon Venerable had his eyes closed, a droplet of 10,000 spirits' ancestor blood suspended before him. As he absorbed it, the pressure of the Black Python shadow behind him grew stronger. On either side, 2 demon monarch realm demons protected him. Besides them, there was even a demon cultivator divinity transformation. It was a demoness with revealing clothing, a playful smile hanging on her lips. She reclined in the chair, her snow-white long legs crossed, twirling a lock of her fallen hair, appearing a bit bored. She was none other. She was the demoness who once wanted to make Jiang Fan her concubine. Now her cultivation had reached the heavenly human 2 declines. Not only did she successfully escape Wu Yu Venerable's pursuit, but she also gained further strength from her misfortune. Alas, now that returning Ruin's state is independent, it's hard to visit other states. If I want to find a man, I have to cross the sea of death, truly troublesome. Blame the master for sending me with 10,000 spirits' ancestor blood, she complained with some resentment. Black Dragon Venerable opened his eyes, putting away the 10,000 spirits' ancestor blood before him, and said, "With that esteemed one as your backing, what is there to worry about? With him protecting you, you could even strut across heavenly state. Who would dare trouble you?" The demoness still sighed. "Him? Haha. Thanks to my little gentleman, his existence has already been detected by the sages of Central Earth. Due to the ancient giant war, the sages of Central Earth don't have the time to find him. Now, Central Earth is peaceful. Can the sages still tolerate him? Soon the sages of Central Earth will find a way to root him out. He's struggling just to protect himself. How could he care about me?" Black Dragon Venerable showed a hint of conjecture. Is there something wrong with the identity of the master of this demoness? The opposite was an esteemed sage, adored by Central Earth. He opened his mouth, just about to inquire. Suddenly, sensing something, he rushed out of the main hall. The demoness also sensed something, abruptly stood up, and instantaneously moved outside. She placed her hands on her forehead, gazing into the distance, and spoke with surprise. "Am I mistaken? It's actually our Central Earth's divinity transformation expert. How did they get here?" in her murmurs. A snow-white giant tiger cracked the sky, instantaneously moving along. Soon it arrived above Heavenly Heritage City. Boom! As it was about to enter Heavenly Heritage City, an invisible array bounced the white tiger away, ripples like flowing water rippling at the point of impact. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. There really was a sage-level array. It seemed after he had stirred things up last time in Heavenly Heritage City, compassionate sage had paid a price to establish it. This old dog really went to great lengths for the half-giants. Wang Qingxiao, little gentleman, both Black Dragon Venerable and the Demoness spoke. The difference being Black Dragon Venerable was full of anger, the Demoness was full of delight. True Word Venerable and Yue Mingzhu both raised their eyebrows. Without showing any expression, they flanked Jiang Fan, one on each side. Yue Mingzhu glanced at the Demoness's revealing attire and said, "Have I gained a new younger sister?" Jiang Fan's mouth twitched, saying, "Do I really enjoy such affairs?" Yue Mingzhu and True Word Venerable both gave Jiang Fan a look. Jiang Fan, speechless, shook his head and said, "She is a traitor of the great wilderness state's demon cultivators, not quite a friend of mine, but not an enemy either." Back then, when he was ambushed by the two-star giant king, the Demoness had protected him alongside Green Pearl and True Word. He remembered this favor. He looked at the invisible barrier surrounding Heavenly Heritage City and asked the crowd, "Do any of you have a method to break the array?" Everyone looked at each other. Heart Demon Venerable said, "This is an array set by a sage containing sage's power. How can we break it? If the great venerables were here, perhaps there would be a way. They more or less have sage-level magical treasures." Jiang Fan contemplated. He could forcibly break the array with the 9-colored crystal, but for some half-giant sinners it was really not worth it. "Haha, little gentleman, you want to break the array?" The Demoness hugged her arms, supporting her voluptuous chest, and said with a teasing smile, "Why bother with so much trouble? Become my concubine, and I'll help you kill all the half-giants." Jiang Fan glanced at her askance. This woman's words cannot be trusted. At the same time, he was filled with suspicion. This woman has sided with the Usura Saint Sun. What is she doing here? As he surveyed the surroundings, Jiang Fan felt a wave of unease. As long as the Usura Saint Sun was not eliminated, he would remain in danger. "All right, then you go ahead and kill all the half-giants first," Jiang Fan replied to the Demoness. The Demoness chuckled, "Cluck, cluck, cluck, little darling is still hard to deceive. I advise little darling to leave quickly and don't contemplate the array. This array contains the laws of the compassionate sage. If it is attacked, the compassionate sage will sense it." Upon hearing this, Black Dragon Venerable spoke grimly. "Why did you tell him that?" He was still counting on these clueless people to attack the array and lure the compassionate sage. The Demoness giggled. "He's my most beloved concubine. I don't want him dying at the hands of the compassionate sage. Little darling, go on now. When sister has time, she'll come to find you." Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed slightly. It was indeed thanks to the Demoness reminding him, either don't touch this array or break it quickly. Otherwise, if the compassionate sage is drawn in, he'd never be able to exterminate the residual half-giants. He cast a glance over the enormous Heavenly Heritage City, and within its houses, secret fortresses, and underground passages, half-giants were hidden everywhere. At least 100,000. If they are not eliminated today, in the future, they will keep producing half-giants in the Golden Body and Dharma Image realm, continuing to be a cancer in Central Earth. He hesitated no longer and took out the 9-colored crystal. To permanently remove a cancer from Central Earth, the 9-colored crystal wouldn't be wasted. But as Jiang Fan prepared to utilize the 9-colored crystal, powerful waves of the Heavenly Human 5 declines simultaneously erupted from 4 directions in Heavenly Heritage City. 4 terrifying attacks bombarded the sage-level array. The enormous array immediately began to shake violently. Black Dragon Venerable's face changed, staring at the overwhelming demon aura from the east with a drastic change in expression. "Golden Scale Venerate, you dare oppose the compassionate sage?" From the east came a voice pinching its nose. "I'm not the Golden Scale Venerate, I'm just passing by." From each of the remaining 3 directions came voices also deliberately altered. "I'm just passing by." "Me too." "So am I," Jiang Fan paused, then immediately recognized the voices as belonging to Golden Scale Venerate, Wan Bing Venerate, Star Mountain Lord, and Jiangshan First-Class Building owner. His eyes lit up with joy. He had thought these Venerates wouldn't come. Unexpectedly, they too were willing to cross the heavenly realm to slaughter the half-giants like Jiang Fan and the others. Only they didn't come openly. Instead, they hid their forms and secretly used dirty tricks. But did only these four come? Did Ice Heart Venerate not come? As he pondered, a timid and weak voice came from the top of the array. I'm just passing by too. Subsequently, a steel needle treasure containing sage fluctuations was thrown from the void, possessing a suppressive effect on the array, stabbing into the great array. The array that was already trembling could not withstand such level of array-breaking treasure attacks and explosively shattered. Jiang Fan's eyes lit with joy, directing the divinity transformation realms on either side, and shouted, "Take action together. Time is of the essence." Everyone felt a tightness in their hearts. At this moment, the compassionate sage may be on the way back. Sages can tear through spatial barriers and traverse between them. No one can predict when he will arrive. Perhaps the next moment. "How dare you?" Black Dragon Venerable shouted in anger. "I, Black Dragon Venerable, will protect the half-giants. Whoever dares to kill the half-giants, I will not." Bang! A golden snake shadow descended from the sky, heavily striking Black Dragon Venerable, sending him flying thousands of miles away. Black Dragon Venerable shouted in alarm. "Golden Scale Venerate, you've also reverted to your ancestors." Golden Scale Venerate pinched his nose and said, "Your Golden Scale, your whole family are Golden Scale." At this moment, a Big Dipper constellation also crashed down from the heavens, striking Black Dragon Venerable fiercely. Next, a thousandfold refined iron hammer, exuding the power of a top-grade spiritual artifact, also hammered down hard. A peculiarly shaped, poisoned, curved saber also took the chance to attack Black Dragon Venerable. The four Venerates simultaneously dealt vicious blows to Black Dragon Venerable. Black Dragon Venerable's face turned pale in horror. Despite his arrogance, he dared not oppose four Venerates. Glancing at Heavenly Heritage City, he gritted his teeth, instantaneously moved to escape. Now, not to mention protecting the half-giants, he couldn't even care for his own demon monarchs and demon Emperor Realm clansmen. "Cough, cough, Jiang Fan, none of you saw us and we weren't here." Golden Scale Venerate pinched his nose and quickly ran away. Compassionate Sage would arrive in several breaths. If they didn't leave now, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves later. Star Mountain Lord, Jiangshan First Class Building Owner, and Wan Bing Venerate all hurriedly fled. Ice Heart Venerate also fled in haste, glancing at Jiang Fan before leaving, saying, "I wasn't here either, got it? Don't you dare rat me out." The Venerates differ from Jiang Fan and others. Jiang Fan and the others were ordinary divinity transformation realms. Their actions represented only themselves. But the Venerates were the leaders of each great state. Their actions represented their respective states. If discovered by the compassionate sage, they could easily implicate their own states. Jiang Fan was speechless. Does such a reminder even require saying? Little time to think, Jiang Fan grabbed Yue Mingzhu and rushed into Heavenly Heritage City first. With a flip of his hand, the mountain river tripod appeared. Inside lay densely packed, pearl-sized concentrated magma. It was the concentrated magma from the fire well of the fire worship sect. Each one could easily kill a late-stage nascent soul martial artist. For those beneath the nascent soul realm, it was like a natural disaster. With a flick of his wrist, magma pearls fell as he flew over various locations in Heavenly Heritage City. After landing, magma pearls exploded, transforming into a sea of magma. When over 100 magma pearls were scattered, a small part of Heavenly Heritage City turned into a magma lake. Whether hidden inside houses or fortresses or underground, none were spared. Several demon monarchs led powerful members of the demon race to urgently ascend into the air to avoid trouble, their scalps tingling with fear. Such brutal means aimed completely at exterminating the half-giants. The demoness giggled. "My little darling is becoming more manly, I like it." She took out a jade talisman, flicked it towards Jiang Fan. Then she instantaneously moved to leave this killing field. Regarding the half-giants, she showed no mercy, with no intent to save them. Not only Jiang Fan was ruthless, but every divinity transformation venerable who came was. Even Yue Mingzhu was bloodthirsty, the black steel threads in her hand harvesting countless half-giant lives. Within 10 short breaths, the enormous Heavenly Heritage City turned into a sea of fire, becoming hell on earth, and no living soul could be seen. But for safety's sake, Red Demon Venerate joined forces with Jiang Wuya's misfortune god Steel, unleashing the immense power of the Heavenly Human 3 decline, pressing the entire city until it continually sank, until it pierced through the ground and reached the magma layer. As Heavenly Heritage City was gradually submerged in magma, Some pretending to be dead or barely surviving half-giants emerged in terror, only to be met with merciless slaughter from the two. Finally, when the entire heavenly heritage city completely sank into the magma, being melted down into flowing lava, the two withdrew their hands. Thus, the millennia-long existence of half-giants in Central Earth was completely annihilated. Not one spared. Jiang Fan exhaled a long breath. This cancer was finally eradicated. Some might think them cruel and inhumane, but if it paves the way for future generations, they would bear such infamy. Jiang Fan dared not relax, saying, "We must quickly head to Qingye Bureau, promptly repair the state-level teleportation array, and evacuate returning ruins state. The compassionate sage is coming." Compassionate sage were to witness the desolation of heavenly heritage city. Who knows if he'd go mad? The white tiger was the first to sense the approaching danger, let out a low growl to the crowd, and ran towards the 7 cities of the heavenly abyss. It deliberately slowed down, allowing everyone to get on its back. Everyone instantly moved away. Yue Mingzhu also held Jiang Fan's hand, quickly preparing to move, but she found she couldn't pull Jiang Fan along. Looking back, she saw Jiang Fan standing in place, showing no intention of leaving. "Jiang Fan, hurry up! The one compassionate sage wants to kill most is you," Yue Mingzhu said anxiously. Jiang Fan deeply gazed at her, slowly released her hand, and said, "You and the others go first." Compassionate sage's return was just a breath away, and the road to the Qingye Bureau was long and distant. How could they possibly escape, unless someone stayed to hold back compassionate sage? And before setting out, Jiang Fan had already decided on that person. It was himself. Understanding Jiang Fan's intention, Yue Mingzhu's eyes trembled. "You doing this will get you killed." A divinity transformation against a sage. How is that different from a mortal against a divinity transformation? With a single thought, Jiang Fan would be reduced to ashes. Jiang Fan gently caressed her cheek and said, "Mingzhu, some things have to be done by someone. The half-giant clan should have been extinct 1,000 years ago. It was compassionate sage who left them for his selfish purposes, causing 1,000 years of suffering in the returning ruined state. And countless casualties today in Central Earth. This debt must be collected by someone. And I, with little time left, will do it. I will speak on behalf of the forgetful wild elder, the returning ruined state, and Central Earth to ask this unworthy sage to step down. He is not worthy of being called sage." Yue Mingzhu was momentarily stunned and grasped Jiang Fan's hand tightly. "What do you mean by with little time left?" Jiang Fan watched as everyone disappeared from sight with the white tiger, leaving only Lin Zhenyu, a nascent soul realm cultivator, frantically flying into the distance. He tightly embraced Yue Mingzhu and said, "The heavenly mechanism elder once divined the fate for me, the 6 path masters, and the heavenly listening bodhisattva. All 3 of us will die in the near future. Now, the heavenly listening bodhisattva has already fallen as foretold. Next, it's my turn and the 6 path masters." Yue Mingzhu's mind thundered. She had once heard her master mention the heavenly mechanism elder as someone who had never failed to foresee the future. The heavenly mechanisms he glimpsed always came true without deviation. If he foresaw Jiang Fan's death, then it would undeniably happen. Yue Mingzhu finally understood why, after their reunion on the demon continent, he had become so open and candid about their relationship, and why he had uncharacteristically promised to marry her after the ancient giant was dealt with. It turned out this was because Jiang Fan knew his destiny was limited and wanted to provide her with whatever she desired within his limited time. "Jiang Fan?" Yue Mingzhu hurriedly held onto Jiang Fan's waist, embracing him tightly. "No, this can't be true. I don't want you to die. We promised to marry and grow old together. We've only just reached this point. I don't want you to leave sobbing." She stomped her feet, tears pouring down like rain. Ever since Jiang Fan promised to marry her, not a day passed without a smile on her face. She had been waiting for this day, and yet it came as a thunderbolt from a clear sky. Jiang Fan gently patted her back and said, "All right, you must leave now. Don't distract me or I'll be in greater danger." At this moment, the true word venerable, realizing something was wrong, returned and asked in surprise, "What happened to you all?" Jiang Fan didn't answer, instead saying, "Take Yue Mingzhu and leave quickly. I'll cover the rear for you all. Don't ask more questions, go." He could already feel the atmosphere of heaven and earth changing drastically. Compassionate sage was tearing through the spatial barrier to return. Cover the rear? True word venerable's pupils contracted, realizing what Jiang Fan intended, and she understood Jiang Fan's fate. In a daze, it seemed like behind Jiang Fan, she could see the figure of her father, Xingyuan Venerable. At this moment, the two completely overlapped. Go! Jiang Fan pushed Yue Mingzhu into the arms of True Word Venerable. True Word Venerable bit her red lips, her eyes glistening with tears, took Yue Mingzhu without a word and turned away. Only after instantaneous movement to a distance did the tears uncontrollably fall. One by one, all thinking of sacrificing themselves, having sent them away. Jiang Fan resolutely took out the 9-dragon demon tripod, 9-colored crystal, and bronze hell beast. Seeing the last item, he glanced and locked onto Lin Zhenyu, who was about to escape to the horizon. You cannot leave! He took out the void fishing rod, made a distant cast, and reeled him back in. Starfire Senior, what are you doing? Lin Zhenyu looked around, his face changing. Jiang Fan, with a half-smile, said, I said I'd help you broaden your horizons. An encounter with a sage battle is rare. If you left, you'd miss it. Lin Zhenyu's pupils trembled immensely. A sage-level battle, even a slight aftershock is enough to destroy heaven and earth, and here he was, a nascent soul realm expected to broaden his horizons. The more he thought, the more something felt off. Was Jiang Fan being a bit too nice to him? Until suddenly, the corner of his eye caught the bronze hell beast, and his heart began to pound wildly as he looked towards Jiang Fan. He understood his identity as a hell beast had been long discovered by Jiang Fan. Bringing him here was merely to use him to activate the sacrificial magic artifact. His eyes flashing, he pulled out a dagger, stabbing it toward his heart, threatening, Don't come near. If I die, my blood will be useless. His response was a piercing look from Jiang Fan. Lin Zhenyu's whole body trembled violently, rendered immobile, and the dagger held tightly dropped to the ground with a clang. Immediately his body cracked, turning into a blood mist and dispersing. A massive and terrifying beast manifested. It was the true form of the hell beast. Under Jiang Fan's gaze, it still trembled, afraid to make a move. Before a venerate, is life and death truly yours to control? Jiang Fan said indifferently. A divinity transformation venerable transcends the level of life. In the past, one look from the evil crow venerable left him immobile at nascent soul realm. What could a mere core formation realm hell beast do? Your blood is useless. This bronze artifact is a sacrificial magic artifact and requires chanting sacrificial inscriptions. Only nobles of the hell realm can master it. Jiang Fan said coldly, Isn't it the invitation to the saint? Don't worry, I can do it. Ah, the hell beast was immensely shocked. A human from the human clan could chant inscriptions only known to hell nobility. Now, it was impossible even to attempt escape. With a casual wave, Jiang Fan pressed the 9-dragon demon tripod onto him, heavy as Mount Tai to a 9th layer of core formation. On the spot, the hell beast was pressed prone, and although struggling with its limbs, couldn't move the 9-dragon demon tripod a bit. Having subdued the hell beast, Jiang Fan stood with hands behind his back, quietly awaiting compassionate sage's return. Down he did not wait long. After a few breaths, the atmosphere between heaven and earth boiled like water. The earth also began to tremble violently. It seemed as if some great terror had torn open hell and returned from beneath the ground. Crack, the sound of a space barrier tearing apart resonated loudly. Beside the old site of Heavenly Heritage City, a long void rift appeared. An old man who looked over 80, with slightly dark skin and hollow cheeks, charged back from the void. A massive tentacle brushed past him, almost wrapping him up. Fortunately, the rift closed in time, trapping it within the void. The old man before him was the compassionate sage. Realizing the array of Heavenly Heritage City had changed, he abandoned the battlefield of Heavenly State without hesitation, leaving several sages in danger, and directly tore open the space barrier to return. Unexpectedly, he encountered the Black Lotus of Tribulation while crossing the void, nearly ending up devoured by it. Without having time to ponder what it was, he quickly looked towards his lifeline, Heavenly Heritage City. Yet what greeted his eyes was a massive pit of magma. Some still unmelted buildings of Heavenly Heritage City floated on the magma, silently narrating the fate of the city. He stared dumbstruck for a moment, unable to believe the scene before his eyes. How could this be? Where are my followers? Are they all right? At this moment, he sensed something. Turning his head, he saw a youth in black standing with hands behind his back appear in his line of sight. The hollows of his eyes immediately burned with fury. Jiang Fan, is it you? What have you done to my followers? Jiang Fan casually brushed off a half-giant's bloodstain from his robe, saying, Which ones are you referring to? Those beasts who sent the giant king's main forces to the Hunyuan state and attacked the western continent, I've killed them all. What? The compassionate sage's body trembled violently. An overwhelming celestial might exclusive to sages erupted forth, shaking the earth and mountains. All beings submitted and trembled under this force, as if life itself teetered on the brink of annihilation. The wrath of a sage and all things perish. The great wine sacrifice of each state, which swept away countless ancient giants, is the best depiction of the sage's power. Below a sage, all are ants. The heavenly human five declines and commoners are indistinguishable to a sage. The earth beneath Jiang Fan's feet couldn't bear the sage's might, cracking open with a sound. Yet he remained unmoved. A five-colored radiance surged from within him, effortlessly resisting the compassionate sage's pressure. The compassionate sage's eyes reddened. Those were the golden body realm followers he painstakingly nurtured. Totaling 2,000, they were his greatest source of merit. Jiang Fan actually killed them all. Wretched brat! The compassionate sage erupted like a long-repressed volcano, unleashing an earth-shattering roar. But he didn't strike immediately, needing first to inquire about the whereabouts of the heavenly heritage city's residents. These 100,000 residents were his roots. As long as they remained, he could continually cultivate golden body realm and dharma image realm half-giants in the future. He suppressed his overwhelming killing intent, saying, "Where have you taken the residents of heavenly heritage city? Hand them over," Jiang Fan replied indifferently. "As for them, I sent them to hell too, not leaving a single one. You might still fish out some remains if you search the magma now." The compassionate sage gasped. That was 100,000 half-giants, not just a few hundred or a few thousand, but 100,000. Jiang Fan spared none, slaughtering them all. "I don't believe you could commit such a vile act." The compassionate sage looked down at the giant magma lake beneath his feet and pressed his palm down, causing the magma to churn instantly. Everything buried at the bottom surfaced. Thousands, no, tens of thousands of oversized skeletal remains unique to half-giants rose to the surface. The compassionate sage's gaze lost focus instantly. His vision turned black. They were truly all in there. Not even a seed left for him. He was the most envied among all sages, because his followers were the most loyal. Though there were only 100,000 half-giants, they trusted only the compassionate sage, not other sages. The merit they gathered was far greater than that of other sages' followers. If nothing else interrupted, he would be the first to advance to the second calamity sage realm among the sages. As the half-giant population grew, he would also be the first to advance to the three calamities sage realm in the future. If half-giants occupied half of Central Earth, it wasn't impossible for him to reach the saint realm. But now it was all over. Jiang Fan slaughtered them all. His status as a sage stemmed from the half-giants, and now without them he could not, unlike other sages, swap his group of followers. His path to eternal life ended there. He was furious, furiously angry, uncontrollably angry. If interrupted by another sage, he'd admit he was not as skilled. But he was cut off from eternal life by a divinity transformation realm, by an ant. This filled him with unparalleled rage. "Jiang Fan!" The compassionate sage's eyes were blood-red, like a beast utterly provoked, watching him in a violent rage. His roar overturned the earth, exposing the magma layer beneath. In an instant, the earth for miles around transformed into an endless expanse of magma. The crimson magma reflected onto the sky, tinting the world a dark red, like a living hell. And this was just his roar. Jiang Fan remained unmoved. A jade shield appeared before him, blocking the pressure carried by the roar. Simultaneously, a broken golden feather on his chest continuously emitted light. He too watched the compassionate sage, feeling his celestial might, his gaze growing sharper. Such powerful strength, yet you don't go beyond the heavens to cut down the source of evil, nor help save Central Earth. All kept to protect beasts that plague Central Earth. You're unworthy of this power and unworthy of the title of sage. Jiang Fan's aura surged. His robes billowed as he clasped his fists and shouted. Jiang Fan of Taikang State requests the compassionate sage to step down and appoint a worthy successor. His clear shout reverberated across the ancient earth. As a divinity transformation, he exclaimed words never before heard in the ages. Requesting a sage to step down? This cry spread in all directions. The disciples of Star Mountain clearing the battlefield collectively looked up at the sky with blurred visions. Finally, someone voiced the millennium-long grievance of the human clan of returning ruined state. Their homeland was forcibly divided in half. Their prosperity was wantonly plundered by half-giants. Their women were captured and insulted by half-giants. Their resistors were slaughtered by half-giants. They could not retaliate, forced to coexist harmoniously with the half-giants. Why? Because the half-giants had a sage shielding them, who repeatedly pressured the human clan to endure, to tolerate, to not bear grudges, yet never restrained the half-giants' atrocities. Does such a person deserve to be called a sage? Now finally someone has shouted out their heart's voice. Compassion unworthy of being a sage. Earth people who fled to distant places also heard this distant shout. They were shocked, admiring, and moved. The red demon venerable turned back, eyes showing satisfaction. I haven't been lingering uselessly for 1,000 years. To witness the birth of such an outstanding person 1,000 years later, I have no regrets even in death. Old friend, stop pretending to be dead, come with me. He spoke to the true word venerable. There was a squirming in his arms, and the jade paper heavenly book flew out, and a tiny figure who had just finished bathing emerged from the book. Who's pretending to be dead? I was just bathing. Divinity transformation forcing the sage to abdicate, hee. How can such lively matters happen without me? Little Yan, Little Red and I are leaving first, see you next time. A farewell, hinting at her unease about this journey. This departure most likely won't be a return. Jiang Wuya felt a resonance and spoke loudly. In the vast heavens and earth, righteousness shall always prevail. On the path of the righteous, how can I let my sworn brother walk alone? He tried to control the misfortune god steel to fly over. But the misfortune god steel began to tremble, uncontrollable. Streaks of fresh blood seeped from the misfortune god steel. This was the blood of the misfortune sage. He was pierced by the 9-day giant emperor's spear, and his heart blood spilled onto the god steel. Now it seems to perceive something, manifesting the misfortune sage to the world. Jiang Wuya immediately understood the steel's intention and sighed. Compassion, even the god steel can't tolerate you. Inside the misfortune god steel, a strike from the misfortune sage was sealed. Previously, during the battle with the ancient giant, the steel did not unleash this strike. Now Jiang Fan's words, please sage abdicate, completely provoked the steel. The reason is nothing else. The misfortune sage perished due to betrayal by his own people. Jiang Wuya said, then fight alongside me. Heavenly Heritage City ruins. In the heavens and earth, still echoing, please compassion sage abdicate and let others take over. It seems like lingering thunderbolt, persisting endlessly. Compassion sage laughed furiously. Have me abdicate and let others take over. Just relying on you from Taikang State, Jiang Fan? The words had barely left his mouth. A voice was heard from the sky. Returning Ruin State Star Mountain Master, please compassion sage abdicate and let others take over. Then, the silver-haired Star Mountain Master flickered over, standing beside Jiang Fan. She had already left, but upon hearing Jiang Fan's earth-shattering shout, she returned. Compassion Sage's face turned gloomier. You do not represent returning Ruin State. I am the decision-maker here. But another thick voice boomed over. Demon Continent Jinlin, please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. As the voice arrived, a succession of voices followed. Divine Weapon State Wan Bing, please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. Holy Spirit State Binkson, please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. Hunyuan State Nameless, please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. 5 great venerates returned one after another, standing on either side of Jiang Fan. Their stance was unmistakable. Among the 9 states, 6 states requested Compassion Sage to abdicate. You all are not enough. Compassion Sage shouted angrily, just at this moment. Echoing voices came from Star Mountain's direction. It was Star Mountain and the human clan powerhouses from various sects. Thousands of cries echoed uniformly across the heavens and earth. Please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. Please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. Please Compassion Sage abdicate and let others take over. This was not a shout from any individual, but the will of the entire Central Earth. Compassion Sage stumbled a bit, weakly shouted in his heart. Shut up, all of you shut up. I am a merit sage acknowledged by the saint. What are you? A bunch of ants. What qualifications do you have to ask me to abdicate? Get lost, or I may just kill you too. Golden Scale Venerate stepped forward fearlessly. Then kill us all if you dare. Let's see how long you can survive. If he slaughtered the great venerates of 6 states, would there still be a place for compassion in Central Earth? Compassion Sage clenched his teeth. He didn't want to leave Central Earth, as a wounded body would be a slaughterhouse for him in the 100 realms. At least he wanted to heal before leaving Central Earth. Therefore, he hesitated to start a massacre. But just as he hesitated, a sinister and oscillating voice surfaced in his mind. Heh, are you still dreaming? The 9 great wine sacrifices and several sages have already reached a consensus to sever your merit divine steel and strip you of your sage position. 3 sages are already on their way to returning ruined state. What? Compassion Sage's face changed drastically, incredulously said. Impossible, I did nothing wrong. Why would they sever my merit divine steel? Why strip my sage position? The voice reappeared in his mind. Just because you incited half-giants and monopolized returning ruined state for independence. Central Earth no longer has a place for you. Run quickly, or it will be too late. Hiss. Compassion Sage's scalp tingled. How did his secret messages to Heavenly Heritage City get exposed to the sages? Splitting Central Earth's independence, this was a colossal sin. His original plan was to secretly incite the half-giants to do this, pretending to only learn of it afterward. By then, the deed would be done, and the other sages would not blame him. Unexpectedly, his plan was intercepted by the other sages. Now, not only will the sages never forgive him, even the saint would not be lenient. Central Earth, he could no longer stay. A thought rose. He wanted to slice through the world's barriers and seek refuge in the void. But upon glimpsing Jiang Fan and the 5 great venerates, as well as the endless Central Earth beings arriving from the horizon, his eyes flashed with malicious light, resentfully said, Since Central Earth cannot tolerate me, I cannot tolerate this group of traitors either. You wish for me to abdicate and let others take over. Foolish, all of you go to hell. He had no compassion for the beings of Central Earth, now angered him even more, his fierce nature exposed, no longer pretending. Raising his hand, terrifying time law surged forth. This strike could wipe out everyone present. Jiang Fan had long been ready. His 9-dragon demon tripod was wrapped in space power, instantaneously moved toward Compassion Sage. Trivial skills, dare to show off before a sage. Compassion Sage's gaze swept over, and the 9-dragon demon tripod fell out from the instantaneous movement of Central Earth. Under his gaze, the pill furnace trembled violently, emitting an unbearable buzzing sound about to explode. At the critical moment, 9 piercing phoenix cries penetrated everyone's soul. Yet at the horizon, the red demon venerable held the jade paper heavenly book in his left hand, and the 9 phoenix KO Dao hairpin in his right. Endless soul power poured into the 9 phoenix KO Dao hairpin. A towering parasol tree grew from the hairpin, with 9 massive bronze phoenixes flying down. They cried out as they swiftly dove toward Compassion Sage. Jade paper heavenly book, 9 phoenix KO Dao hairpin, 2 female sages from 1,000 years ago. For the first time, a trace of seriousness appeared on Compassion Sage's grim face. Female sages are remnant souls. They wield powerful magical treasures from their heyday. Their combined power is astonishing. As 9 gigantic phoenix birds swooped down, he redirected the laws he used to slaughter everyone toward the approaching phoenix birds instead. Under the time retrospection law, the 9 phoenix birds visibly shrank, eventually turning into green specks of light. The tall wudang tree also rapidly diminished, reverting to its original state. And the time law continued unabated, enveloping the 2 of them. The compassionate sage chuckled. So it was just bluffing gave me quite a scare. 2 old crones, the ancient giant from 1,000 years ago, couldn't completely kill you. Let me send you off then. In the end, Red Demon Venerable and Lecherous Sage are just remnant souls. Even with a combined strike, they barely reach the peak of Heavenly Human 5 declines. Perhaps when unguarded, they could harm the compassionate sage, but they stand no chance in a direct confrontation. Now both are enveloped by the time law, and their remnant souls visibly diminish. The soul power they painstakingly restored over 1,000 years is quickly dissipating, just as they fell into a severe crisis. The misfortune god steel suddenly appeared above Compassionate Sage's head and crashed down fiercely. The Compassionate Sage sneered. Just a mere remnant soul dare to attack this sage? Die! He pointed a finger, and terrifying power penetrated the steel, striking into it. But the steel emitted an angry rumbling sound. The blood of the misfortune sage on the surface of the steel swiftly coalesced into a blood-red word, misfortune, then detached and stamped toward the compassionate sage. The latter's pupils contracted sharply, exclaiming, "This steel contains a sage's strike." He tried to dodge, but it was already too late. The word misfortune swiftly imprinted on his head, releasing fatal misfortune that corroded his body. His inner vital energy reversed. The laws condensed in his palm became chaotic, and he staggered uncontrollably. Thoroughly lost his combat capability. Seeing this, Red Demon Venerable hurriedly said, "Quick, one more time." She held the jade paper heavenly book and once again unleashed the 9 Phoenix KO Dao hairpin. 9 phoenix birds swiftly swooped down, passing through his body in unison. "Get away! All of you get away! You group of ants!" But the 9 phoenix birds were seen gnawing at his soul, forcefully dragging him. However, the other party is still a sage, or one with merit approaching sage status. After only half his soul was pulled out, it couldn't be pulled any further. Jiang Fan's eyes flashed, seizing the opportunity. Go! The 9 dragon demon tripod flew out, smashing fiercely toward the compassionate sage. Already under the sway of misfortune, the compassionate sage glared, intending to knock the 9 dragon demon tripod away. A miraculous scene unfolded. The 9 dragon demon tripod was indeed deflected, but it curved back in an arc, precisely striking the compassionate sage's chest. This was the effect of misfortune. Seeing this, everyone struck out. What astonished them was that, as great venerates, they normally wouldn't harm the compassionate sage. Yet their attacks bizarrely managed to hit the weakest points of the compassionate sage, such as the eyes, the neck, even conveniently entering the mouth. An unexpected strike from Ice Heart Venerate landed between the compassionate sage's legs, causing him to utter the most painful cry of the battle so far. Ice Heart Venerate blushed, spitting, "Using such a dirty place to take my move, you shameless old man." The compassionate sage was filled with shame and anger. Their injuries were not severe, but the humiliation was immense. "You're courting death," he roared, eyes bloodshot, neck veins bulging. The terrifying might of a sage surged like a torrent. Though under the effect of misfortune it failed to unleash annihilating force, it still blasted 5 great venerates and the likes of Red Demon and Lecherous Sage into the outer heavens. Sobs of agony accompanied by fresh blood scattered in all directions. In just an instant, they were all severely injured. The gap between sage and divinity transformation is indeed vast. Even standing still, they struggled to take its life. What disturbed everyone more was the compassionate sage, fully enraged, revealing a radiant golden steel behind him. Clearly the sage's strongest aspect, merit divine steel, just like how the strongest in the divinity transformation realm is their domain. Harnessing the power within the steel, a sage gains supreme combat power. The compassionate sage glanced at the word misfortune above his head, snorting angrily, "Begone!" The merit divine steel radiated brilliantly, the immense power of merit disintegrating the word misfortune. Then coldly focused on the only remaining person in place, Jiang Fan. In front of him stood a snow-white giant bell, which absorbed most of the compassionate sage's attack just now. Along with the snow-white shield protecting him, it blocked the majority of the aftermath. Thus, Jiang Fan was only shaken enough to spill some blood. "You little beast, you're the most deserving of death. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here today," the compassionate sage venomously declared. "Starting from you, I will kill you all." His merit divine steel behind him once more blazed with golden light. The overwhelming power of merit hurtled toward the immortal king's undying bell before Jiang Fan. No matter how invincible this bell once was, it is ultimately damaged. How can it withstand a hit from merit? However, Jiang Fan remained unafraid, wiping the blood from his mouth. "Old dog, look at your chest before continuing." The compassionate sage looked down, noticing a 9-color crystal attached to his chest by mysterious demon liquid. He recalled it was when Jiang Fan propelled the 9 dragon demon tripod to crash into him. The 9 dragon demon tripod was secondary. The 9-color crystal attached was crucial. Due to the mysterious demon liquid covering it, the aura of the 9-color crystal was concealed and didn't leak out. Upon closer inspection, only now did he perceive the terrifying aura contained within the 9-color crystal. Before he could respond, Jiang Fan's indifferent voice echoed by his ear. "Explode!" Then, as his pupils progressively widened, this 9-color crystal shattered open. The 9-color tribulation thunder enough to annihilate a sage descended like divine punishment, instantly engulfing him. Jiang Fan's heart pounded wildly. He succeeded. This 9-color crystal, he couldn't recall how many times he tried to use it, but due to various reasons it never got utilized. Ultimately, it didn't get used on the battlefield of ancient giants, but rather on the compassionate sage. It seemed as if everything was predestined. The white-robed skeleton once said, "Once this crystal is activated, few sages in Central Earth can withstand it." A compassionate sage bearing injuries, recuperating in Central Earth, how could he possibly withstand it? But causing Jiang Fan's pupils to contract sharply. The nine-color tribulation thunder that engulfed the compassionate sage was shrinking. Under the inexhaustible power of the time reversal, it forcibly reversed the nine-color tribulation thunder to its initial state. Soon, the compassionate sage's face reappeared from the nine-color tribulation thunder. A face twisted in ferocity and excitement. Heh, you have such a great treasure. How wonderful! This thing, except for the great wine sacrifice of Taikang State and the Buddha Venerate of Heavenly State, no one can withstand it. Since you delivered this great gift, then I'll use it to slay a sage and plunder their belongings before I leave. Otherwise, leaving Central Earth empty-handed, I'd be so unwilling. Fan was not flustered. To kill a sage, would he really pin all his hopes on the nine-colored crystal? He raised his hand, and the bronze hell beast floated before him. With another gesture, the hell beast crushed under the nine-dragon demon tripod in the distance was pierced through with a blood hole. A continuous stream of fresh blood flowed out. Jiang Fan drew the blood over the distance, and it fell onto the bronze artifact. The inscriptions on it, upon contact with the blood, immediately emitted a mysterious glow, as if the characters came alive. In a moment, the bronze artifact was drenched in the blood of the hell beast. All the inscriptions started to tremble, as if eager to break away from the artifact. Now just the chant was needed. Compassionate Sage noticed this scene, studied it carefully, and finally recognized it, his face transforming dramatically. A sacrificial bronze artifact from the Hell Realm. How do you have such a thing? Jiang Fan replied coldly. I not only have it, I can even activate it. Seeing the inscriptions activating, Jiang Fan immediately began to chant the content engraved on it, the invitation to the saint. It was just over 100 words, and he soon finished reciting it. Compassionate Sage's face was filled with horror. Stop it! You little beast, stop right now! He had heard that once such a bronze artifact was activated, it could summon a doppelganger of a Hell Realm master to annihilate enemies. And that was a boundary master, equivalent to a saint of Central Earth. Just the thought of a saint's doppelganger descending to destroy him was enough to make his scalp tingle. He wanted to stop Jiang Fan, but he was still battling the nine-colored tribulation thunder, unable to spare any effort. Otherwise, the nine-colored tribulation thunder would devour him, leading to his destruction. Now it was a race against time. If he suppressed the nine-colored tribulation thunder first, Jiang Fan would be dead. Otherwise, it would be him. Both were racing against the clock. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. The air between them seemed ignited by their urgency, becoming unbearably hot, rising and falling. Except for Jiang Fan's chanting, an eerie silence filled the world. This was a race against life and death. After 10 breaths, Jiang Fan's chanting ceased. He had finished. While Compassionate Sage had only managed to compress the nine-colored tribulation thunder to the size of a fist. His face was terrified, anxiously looking around. Yet the expected descent of a boundary master's doppelganger did not occur. Jiang Fan also felt a sudden chill. He remembered when the chaotic ancient blood marquis doppelganger descended, it tore through the void to arrive. If the Hell Realm master's doppelganger descended, it should also tear through the void. But the surroundings remained utterly silent, far from a successful activation. His expression turned unsightly. Could it be that because he wasn't a creature from the Hell Realm, he couldn't summon it? At this moment, Compassionate Sage successfully regressed the nine-colored tribulation thunder back to the state of the nine-colored crystal. With cold sweat on his back and eyes filled with lingering fear, he glared at Jiang Fan with overwhelming killing intent. You little beast, so close to falling into your trap. You deserve 1,000 deaths, he roared as the Merit Divine Steel behind him suddenly activated, its terrifying merit power crashing towards Jiang Fan like a collapsing sky. This was a deadly blow Jiang Fan couldn't possibly withstand. Jiang Fan's heart sank to the bottom. Ultimately, he had failed. Such unwillingness. Suddenly, he glimpsed the nine-dragon demon tripod from the corner of his eye, recalling the black lotus of tribulation lurking in the nearby void, hoping to grab him. Also remembered how this black lotus once dragged Evil Crow Venerable into the void and devoured him. His eyes flashed with resolve. If he were to die, Compassionate Sage should not think of walking away unscathed. He sent a trace of space origin into the nine-dragon demon tripod, the only way to open the void, drawing the black lotus of tribulation. But he wouldn't witness this scene. The merit power had already engulfed him like a tsunami, and the indescribable oppression made his body feel as if it were being torn apart. Just as the pain began, it receded like a wave. A silken, magnetic female voice slowly reached him from behind. So it's a human clan member summoning me. Interesting. Jiang Fan was startled, turning his head to see a 30-year-old woman in a blood-red gown and crowned with red flowers with a red vermilion dot on her forehead, standing there without him noticing. Her skin was like creamy jade, revealing thin vein patterns. Her exquisite features exuded infinite allure, unexplainably beautiful yet irresistibly captivating. Jiang Fan experienced a moment of confusion, but the rustling of the void ancient tree in his mind jolted him awake. He was deeply warned. What kind of being was this? The remnant soul of the Asura emperor from the Yaomei Asura clan, Yue, hadn't even entranced him so deeply. Little people clan member, you're quite different, able to resist this master's allure. Seems like you have a great treasure on you. Jiang Fan finally came back to his senses. His ritual had succeeded. He had truly summoned a doppelganger of a boundary master from the Hell Realm to Central Earth. Junior Wang Qingxiao greets the elder from the Hell Realm. Jiang Fan unhesitatingly gave his good friend's name. In the face of such unknown terror, it was best to keep a trump card. The glamorous and alluring boundary master's doppelganger regarded him with amusement. But sensing something, she glanced up at the sky and said, "Time is short, let's handle the main task first." "Why summon me? Speak." Jiang Fan glanced at the merit power above that was being blocked by the boundary master's doppelganger, unable to fall, feeling reassured. He pointed at Compassionate Sage, saying, "Kill him." Upon hearing this, Compassionate Sage's expression greatly changed, and he hurriedly said, "Friend from the Hell Realm, hold. We are both sages. Why be incited by a junior to engage in meaningless slaughter? Why not retreat while I kill him?" The boundary master's doppelganger placed her index finger on her lips, contemplating. That indeed sounds reasonable. Compassionate Sage was overjoyed, his gaze towards Jiang Fan filled with vicious intent. This little beast was indeed too dangerous. He wanted to dismember Jiang Fan and eternally trap his soul, tormenting him life after life. Unexpectedly, the boundary master's doppelganger turned the subject. However, this master never acts rationally. "Will you die by your own hand, or shall this master do it?" Compassionate Sage's face suddenly froze, feeling tricked. He retorted in embarrassment and anger, "Don't think just because you're a Hell Realm master's doppelganger you can act recklessly. This is Central Earth, not your ground for mischief. Beware of the ancient saint detecting you and destroying your doppelganger." The boundary master's doppelganger looked at the sky with a smile of mockery. "You might not believe it. Your Central Earth's ancient saint was just here, and upon realizing you were the target, the saint left." "What?" Compassionate Sage's face changed dramatically. The ancient saint. The ancient saint actually allowed the Hell Realm master to kill him. Could it be that everything he had done here the ancient saint had seen, and thus abandoned him, leaving him to perish? "No, impossible. I am a sage acknowledged by the ancient saint, still a sage of Central Earth." Compassionate Sage panicked, hurriedly pleading. The boundary master's doppelganger shook her head. "I'm busy, no time for nonsense with you. Since you refuse to die with dignity, I'll grant you that dignity." Realm Master's avatar about to kill him, the Compassionate Sage panicked. He hurriedly split the earth, revealing the world barrier below, and was about to tear the barrier apart. The Hell Realm Master's avatar flicked her fingers, and the earth closed again. "If I let a disaster realm sage like you escape, wouldn't I become a laughingstock when I return?" Above her head, 9 vortices gradually appeared. The Compassionate Sage gasped, "9 prison Asura Emperor? Could you be the strongest ancient saint of the Hell Realm?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar shrugged her fragrant shoulders. "The strongest? Whom I've never compared, so I'm not sure. But killing you is quite simple." Her eyes gradually transformed into heart shapes, resembling 2 crystals symbolizing love, emitting a pink, enchanting glow. The Compassionate Sage realized what was about to happen and cried out in terror, "No, don't. I don't want to die yet." But he couldn't persuade the Hell Realm Master's avatar, only the summoner could stop her. He quickly looked to Jiang Fan, his old face full of remorse, begging, "Little friend Jiang, I will leave Central Earth immediately and never return. Please spare me, give me a chance to live. I, as a sage, will never forget your great kindness and will repay it generously in the future." Jiang Fan chuckled coldly. "If you had left earlier, perhaps you could have escaped. Now it's too late to leave." He took a deep breath and shouted, "Jiang Fan of Taikang State, ask the Compassionate Sage to face death." The Compassionate Sage immediately cursed venomously. "You little beast, you're too vicious. If I die, don't think you'll have it easy either." behind him, the merit divine steel flew away from his body and struck fiercely toward Jiang Fan. It was clear he intended to perish together with Jiang Fan. The Hell Realm Master's avatar shook her head. "Killing the summoner in my presence, you really dare to think?" With a flick of her fingers. The giant merit divine steel suddenly stopped, uncontrollably falling into the magma layer below. Next, the Hell Realm Master's avatar looked at the compassionate sage. Under the gaze of the pink, heart-shaped eyes, the compassionate sage's expression transformed from anger to a hideous twist. He seemed to be resisting something, appearing very struggling. But it only lasted 2 breaths, and the aged face showed deep infatuation, stepping toward the Hell Realm Master's avatar with infatuated eyes. Beautiful one, this old man loves you so much, please allow me to kneel and kiss your toes." The Hell Realm Master's avatar said lightly, "Twist off your own head." The compassionate sage nodded repeatedly. Okay, for the beauty, I'm willing to do anything." He gripped his own head with both hands and gave it a forceful twist, turning the large head right off. The aged sage's body then fell to the ground. A half-human high-aged soul emerged from the husk, still besotted. The Hell Realm Master's avatar said calmly, "Self-destruct." The compassionate sage murmured, "All right, I'll explode now. Please, beautiful one, be sure to love me." Then, with a low roar, his soul exploded on the spot. The terrifying explosion ripples fiercely swept across the soul realm, seemingly about to annihilate all being souls in the world. The Hell Realm Master's avatar gently pointed her finger, and this cataclysmic soul explosion abruptly ceased, dissipating into nothingness. "All right, it's resolved." The Hell Realm Master's avatar's heart-shaped eyes returned to normal, and she clapped her little hands. Looking back, she found Jiang Fan staring in shock at the compassionate sage's remains. The Hell Realm Master's avatar chuckled softly. "What, little one, are you shocked by this Realm Master's methods?" Jiang Fan was indeed shaken. The compassionate sage wasn't a person given to lust, having cultivated arduously for a millennium, long immune to female allure. Yet just one glance from the Hell Realm Master's avatar made him utterly fall at her mercy. One cannot deny that the difference between sages is greater than the difference between humans and dogs. Regaining his composure, he said, "Senior's power is unfathomable, and this junior is full of admiration." The Hell Realm Master's avatar said nonchalantly, "It's just a disaster realm entity. Killing him is as easy as lifting a hand. I only took a little trouble because I didn't want to dirty my hands." Jiang Fan had no doubts about this. That 9-day giant emperor could easily cross realms and hurl a blood-colored spear to slay the sages of Central Earth. As a 9-prison Asura emperor and a boundary master's avatar, it would be even easier. He exhaled deeply. With the removal of the compassionate sage, the toxic bane was resolved, and his merit divine steel fell into the magma. Fortunately, he himself needed a merit divine steel for his poison body cultivation, perfectly solving both issues. As soon as the Hell Realm Master's avatar departed, he'd retrieve it from the magma. Thinking of this, he cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Senior, for your assistance. I am most grateful. If there is ever a chance, I will surely visit the Hell Realm to express my gratitude." Having said this much, the Hell Realm Master's avatar should have left, unexpectedly. She stood at ease, looking at Jiang Fan with an amused expression. Showing no intention of leaving, a bad feeling suddenly stirred in Jiang Fan's heart. "Senior, do you have any advice?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar said playfully, "Summoning this Realm Master over and then sending me back right after being done. Since when did the boundary masters of the Hell Realm become so cheap, reduced to coming and going at someone's beck and call?" "What? She's not leaving?" Jiang Fan's heart skipped a beat. He remembered a saying, "It's easy to invite a god, but difficult to send one away." He killed a compassionate sage, only to attract an even more fearsome presence. His heart pounded anxiously as he occasionally glanced at the sky. Only an ancient saint could drive this entity away now. Unexpectedly, the Hell Realm Master's avatar chuckled. "Don't count on the ancient saints to help you. I came to Central Earth with the ancient saints' permission. I'm taking what belongs to me and they have nothing to say." Offerings. Jiang Fan was stunned for a moment, then looked at the Hell Beast bronze artifact on the ground, which was now full of cracks and useless for a second offering. A very unpleasant thought crossed his mind, and he cautiously backed away a few steps, cupping his hands. "Senior, what do you mean by offerings?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar chuckled. "Exactly as it sounds. Even if you've never seen a sacrificial offering, you must have heard of them, right? Since it's a sacrifice, shouldn't proper offerings be prepared? You didn't think that a mere bit of Hell Beast blood could easily summon the Hell Realm Master's avatar across realms, did you? If that was the case, wouldn't the boundary masters of the Hell Realm be worked to death? Jiang Fan slapped his forehead. There's no such easy benefit in the world. Summoning the Hell Realm Master's avatar requires a price. The unease in his heart intensified, and he cautiously said, "Then I'll kill a pig for you, slaughter a few sheep, and set out some fruit trays." The Hell Realm Master's avatar was momentarily stunned, then laughed heartily. "I am not some small mountain god worshipped by mortals. That small amount could never summon me. Since you haven't prepared an offering, I'll just pick something suitable myself." Jiang Fan swallowed hard and said, "Senior, what do you want?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar swayed her snake-like waist, walked up to Jiang Fan, and teasingly raised her index finger, pressing it on the tip of his nose. "I want you." Fan's heart pounded wildly, and he hurriedly replied, "Senior, stop joking. I am not a sacrificial offering, just a person. If that's not satisfactory, I can find another offering for you, like my good brother Wang Qingye. He has many treasures from the heavenly realm." The Hell Realm Master's avatar chuckled charmingly. "Oh, you introduced yourself as Wang Qingye just now, and now your brother is also Wang Qingye. You haven't said a single truthful word." With her jade hand gently gripping, she clutched Jiang Fan's shoulder and looked up to the sky, saying, "This is my sacrificial offering. I'm taking him. Farewell." After speaking, she raised her hand to split open the magma lake, revealing the world barrier below. Jiang Fan's scalp tingled. Was he really going to be taken to the Hell Realm? He hurriedly said, "Wait, I have an offering that will satisfy you." The Hell Realm Master's avatar casually opened the world barrier, and the terrifying power of nothingness surged in. She calmly said, "No, I only want you. A human clan member can summon our Hell Realm avatar. For this reason alone, I must take you back for questioning. Moreover, you can resist my charm. You surely possess great treasures." It turns out her choice of Jiang Fan as an offering was deliberate, not whimsical. Seeing this, Jiang Fan hastily said, "I have a peace monument." With a hum, the world barrier closed. The Hell Realm Master's avatar's smile froze on her face, looking intensely at Jiang Fan. "What did you just say?" She suspected she had misheard. Peace monument. Only the first place in the ancient hunting contest receives a peace monument. Could it be in the hands of this heavenly person declined member of the Little People clan? Jiang Fan fixed his disheveled collar calmly. "The one standing before you is the recipient of this ancient hunting contest's first-place award, Jiang Fan from Central Earth." Suddenly, he missed the West Sea Crown Prince. It's a pity he had so many new achievements, but no one was reciting them for him. The Hell Realm Master's avatar was taken aback. "You got first place in the ancient hunting contest?" Jiang Fan produced a palm-sized silver steel that had the crooked word, "Go away," engraved on it. The Hell Realm Master's avatar's pupils contracted violently. "It really is the peace monument." She reached to take it, but Jiang Fan withdrew it, saying, "Please be calm, Senior. If you dare touch the peace monument, the ancient saints won't let your avatar return." The Hell Realm Master's avatar quickly pulled back her hand as if electrocuted. Such a treasure influencing a world's future for millennia would never be allowed to be taken by an avatar of an alien race. If she dared to covet it, the ancient saints would certainly erase her. "How did you win first place?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar bit her lip. "Did you steal, snatch, or deceive for it? This steel must be smelly and sour, right?" She admitted she was jealous. The Hell Realm is still engaged in fierce battles with ancient giants, the situation precarious. But the Central Earth above them ended the ancient giants' war and successfully obtained the peace monument. For the next millennium, they'll no longer suffer from the agony of war. It's hard for her not to be envious. Jiang Fan chuckled, saying, "I originally intended to give it to you, but since you say it's smelly and sour, forget it." "What? Give it to me?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar's pupils fluctuated for an instant but quickly regained calmness. "How would your ancient saints permit this?" Jiang Fan said. "Let you use it after use, just send it back to me." "I believe that ancient saints have no objection." "How is that possible?" She shook her head inwardly. Once such a thing reached the Hell Realm, could it be retrieved? Wishful thinking. To avoid the next millennium of war, the Hell Realm would rather engage in a battle with the Central Earth than return it. How would the ancient saints of Central Earth agree to send the steel to other worlds? Unexpectedly, the clouds above them suddenly changed and condensated into a word. "Yes!" Shock engulfed the Hell Realm Master. The ancient saints actually agreed. Was she insane? Didn't she understand that once the divine steel was taken to the Hell Realm, it couldn't return? Or was there some hidden agenda? Regardless, with the ancient saints having no objection, why should she hesitate? Bringing back this steel would certainly please the Boundary Master. She quickly said, "Okay, I'll borrow the Peace Monument as an offering. After driving away the ancient giants, I'll return it." Jiang Fan replied, "Senior, you plan to take the Peace Monument after intervening only once. Doesn't it seem too insubstantial?" So she wanted a better deal. The Hell Realm Master's avatar was not surprised. She reached out across the air, pulling out the Merit Divine Steel that fell into the magma lake. "This steel is my battle trophy, I'll give it to you." Jiang Fan was speechless. Does this count? He glanced at the broken Hell Beast bronze artifact on the ground, saying, "Give me a sacrificial bronze artifact too." Although it comes at a great cost, it's seriously useful. The Hell Realm Master's avatar furrowed her brow. Technically, I shouldn't give a sacrificial magic artifact to an alien race, but considering the Peace Monument, I'll make an exception. Raising her hand to tear open a small crack in the world barrier once again. From the Hell Realm, a Hell Beast bronze artifact was cross-realm delivered. Seeing this thing, the Hell Beast at a distance, already pale from blood loss, blacked out and fainted. Jiang Fan was astonished. This avatar could retrieve items cross-realm from the Hell Realm. He further said, "Give me a piece of your compelling cause and effect too." The Hell Realm Master's avatar became wary. If Jiang Fan uses it against creatures from the Hell Realm, it could be dangerous. After a brief thought, she reached into the Hell Realm again, bringing a jade pendant to which she infused a cause and effect, saying, "I can only give you a cause and effect to counter a Sage Realm disaster, and I added my restriction to it, making it unusable against the Asura clan." Jiang Fan was greatly disappointed. He wanted to use it against the Asura Saint's son. Yet it's still a precious treasure. It was the first magical treasure Jiang Fan acquired, capable of easily killing a Sage Realm being. The experience of 90-colored crystal and bronze artifact was indescribable. Not as safe and side-effect-free as compelling cause and effect. He happily accepted it. "Is that enough? Give me the Peace Monument," said the Hell Realm Master's avatar. Jiang Fan's eyes shifted, deciding to make one last bold move. "Enough, but to prevent you from taking the Peace Monument without returning it, you must place a treasure as collateral. Once you return the Peace Monument, I'll return the treasure to you. I think your world artifact would be fitting." "What?" The Hell Realm Master's avatar laughed angrily. "Do you dare covet my world artifact?" Jiang Fan also laughed angrily. "I've barely met you, Senior, yet with only petty gains, you expect me to trust you with the Peace Monument. Are you treating me like a fool, Senior?" "You." The Hell Realm Master bit her silver teeth, realizing there indeed wasn't such an easy deal. The ancient saint's consent must have accounted for this. Reluctant as she was to use her world artifact as collateral, she understood upon careful consideration that trading even 3 world artifacts couldn't get the Peace Monument. Sacrificing the artifact meant great gains for the Hell Realm. After much deliberation, the Hell Realm Master's avatar raised a hand and grasped. "Come!" The Hell Realm trembled. Soon, a black scripture scroll flew from the Hell Realm, landing in her palm. Jiang Fan glanced at it, thinking it was the prison-suppressing soul scripture. But this black scroll was a real magic artifact, exuding indescribable oppressive power. A world artifact, indeed. The Hell Realm Master's avatar held the scroll, eyes filled with hesitation. Gritting her teeth, she reluctantly tossed it to Jiang Fan, saying, "Take it." Jiang Fan caught it in one swift motion. A biting, cold sensation of death seeped into his heart. He looked at the scroll bound with a purple cord, uncertain of its contents. Seeing Jiang Fan's curious expression, she snorted, "This isn't something you can touch. This is one of the 10 world artifacts of my Hell Realm, the Book of Life and Death. It can reflect a person's life and death, fortune and disaster, and can rewrite their fate, sever their life, making them die instantly if willed. But it's something only the Asura clan can wield. Other clans touching it would suffer backlash. If you don't want to die, worship it properly and never touch it." She indeed handed over the artifact as collateral, but she brought an artifact unusable by the human clan. This way, it minimizes the harm of artifacts found outside. Oh, Jiang Fan was moved. Could this artifact reflect his fate? Could it be rewritten? Could his and the Six-Path Master's doomed fate be altered too? As for only the Asura clan being able to use it, isn't that easy? Yoren cultivates the Asura clan's lineage. Green Pearl, our little wife, is purebred Asura clan, and she listens to me completely. Her holding the artifact is no different from me holding it. Of course, Jiang Fan had to feign disappointment and sighed. Senior, can you change it for another world artifact? I promise just to look and not use it. Seeing Jiang Fan's disappointed look, the Hell Realm Master's avatar felt her annoyance dissipate quite a bit. This pesky kid wanted to swindle her artifact. Heh, let him sulk with the useless artifact. She extended her hand and said, "Give me the peace monument." Jiang Fan reluctantly took out the peace monument and tossed it to her. The Hell Realm Master's avatar caught it directly, cautiously looked up at the sky, and upon seeing the saint did not intervene, she slightly relaxed. She silently thought, "This is Central Earth, a land of civilization. If it were in my Hell Realm, how could anyone be so honest and fair?" She examined the peace monument, confirming its authenticity and sensing the word scram. An unimaginable authority surged from it, inducing a feeling of reverence. This was indeed the peace monument. Suppressing her joy, she put away the peace monument, swiftly opened the barrier of the world, and cast a meaningful glance at Jiang Fan, saying, "You are forever a friend to my Hell Realm. On behalf of the billions of living beings in the Hell Realm, I thank you." The peace monument was handed over to the Hell Realm just like that. Ha ha ha. Central Earth has encountered someone as foolish and short-sighted as Jiang Fan, truly their misfortune. After speaking, she swiftly disappeared into the void rift, returning to the Hell Realm. Jiang Fan watched her leave, eyed the closing rift, the ground recovered the crack, and he exhaled deeply. Finally left! He almost became a sacrifice. Thinking of this, Jiang Fan irritably took out the Moon Realm, typing a string of words. "Taking a good name, red sleeves, come forth." Soon the Moon Realm replied. "Glasses, taking a good name, why didn't you tell me summoning a Realm Master's avatar requires a sacrifice? You almost got me killed." Initially, it was Red Sleeves who told him the true function of the Hell Beast bronze artifact. However, it was not mentioned that a sacrifice was needed. "Glasses, the ancient texts only wrote this much. Wait, you summoned a Realm Master's avatar. Taking a good name, yes, a very unreasonable woman. Glasses, did she kill the compassionate sage?" Jiang Fan glanced at the headless body of the compassionate sage and then at the sky. "Taking a good name? Not entirely sure, even though he's body and soul annihilated, no spirit rain has descended from the sky." He recalled clearly, when Wu Gu fell, a spirit rain beneficial to the nascent soul realm descended. But now, with compassionate sage's fall, there was no spirit rain at all. Is it because he hasn't completely died? Glasses, he probably left a remnant soul elsewhere. Sages of this level always have multiple safeguards. Glasses, the Realm Master's avatar didn't do anything to you, did she? Taking a good name, she took my peace monument. Glasses, oh, Death Diary, oh, West Palace, oh, Flower Cluster, oh, never spoils the scenery. Oh, flowers in bloom, oh, such a pity. Everyone sighed deeply. Jiang Fan's hard-earned peace monument was just taken by the Hell Realm. All hard work, ultimately a bridal gown for the Hell Realm. At this moment, the Moon Realm chimed again. Taking a good name, it was a fake peace monument copied by Memory Silver Sand. The Moon Realm buzzed with intensive beeping noises. Glasses, Death Diary, West Palace, Flower Cluster, never spoils the scenery. Flowers in bloom, Glasses, you dare deceive even the Hell Realm Master's avatar. Taking a good name. She didn't set a clear price, used me up, then asked for outrageous payment. Isn't that clear fraud? The Moon Realm went silent for a while. Just when Jiang Fan thought everyone had dispersed, the Moon Realm chimed again. Glasses, I don't even know how to assess your audacity. Good thing that Realm Master didn't lose much, probably just a bit angry. Jiang Fan glanced at the scattered treasures, touching his chin. Taking a good name. As a Hell Realm Master, no matter how angry she gets, it won't affect my enjoyment in Central Earth, right? Taking great state, Qingye Mountain. Red Sleeves, who should have returned to the Heavenly Realm, actually stayed, lurking near the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion. She adjusted her glasses, sensing vaguely that Jiang Fan's tone was off. Glasses, what did you take from her? Taking a good name, I didn't take. She gifted me not much, just a merit divine steel, a new Hell Beast bronze artifact, a share of her cause and effect. After a pause, the Moon Realm chimed again. Taking a good name, oh, she also placed a world artifact as collateral. Red Sleeves covered her red lips, apricot eyes widened. Collateral with what? World artifact. Using a fake peace monument to swindle the Hell Realm Master's world artifact, the Moon Realm erupted again with intensive sounds. Death Diary, West Palace, Flower Cluster, never spoils the scenery. Flowers in bloom. Glasses. You are doomed. Taking a good name. If I don't go to the Hell Realm, what can she do to me? Jiang Fan shrugged, completely unafraid. The Hell Realm Master's avatar said she came to Central Earth with the ancient saint's permission. This means Central Earth isn't a place she can just come to. So long as he doesn't go to the Hell Realm, he's safe. Besides, why would he ever go to the Hell Realm? Never in this lifetime. He collected all the Hell Realm treasures he had snatched, and also put away his own immortal king's undying bell and other artifacts. Finally, he gazed at the compassionate sage's corpse, slightly frowning. Where would this guy hide his remnant soul? If not eliminated, it'll remain a future threat. Brat in the distant void. A fragment of a continent floated into the depths of the void. This is a corner of Hunyuan State's fragment. At this moment, within the fragment, a fist-sized soul resembling nascent soul realms slowly emerged from the continent fragment. Its face is old, its appearance grim, exactly like the compassionate sage. A temporary array envelops it, protecting it from the harm of the void temporarily. Luckily, I had foresight, foreseeing a disaster at the time of the primordial land sinking and hid a strand of soul in the void in advance. Otherwise, I'd be dead by now. Looking at its weak soul, the compassionate sage was filled with venomous hatred. Jiang Fan, you little wretch. You killed my half-giant and destroyed my path of cultivation. Once I settle in a new world and regain my strength, I will annihilate your entire clan, making you regret for life. Indeed, it bore deep hatred for Jiang Fan, a hatred that cannot be reconciled. Rumble, a sudden loud noise erupted in the void, startling the compassionate sage as it squinted its eyes. 9 azure dragons were pulling a bronze chariot through the void, crushing the surrounding continents to dust with overwhelming force. The compassionate sage cursed inwardly as the bronze chariot headed in its direction. Amid the rolling thunder, the fragment it was hiding in inevitably shattered. Protected by the array, it barely escaped a calamity, swept by turbulent currents spinning endlessly. In the chaos, it found itself drifting near the window of the bronze chariot. Inside the bronze chariot, an old commander clad in armor, holding a sword, stared ahead. Beside him lay a bored, chubby boy, waving a small hammer aimlessly, mumbling, "I want to return to Central Earth. This place is not fun at all, not fun one bit." While whining, he inadvertently noticed something drifting at the window. Fixing his eyes, he burst into laughter joyously. "It's an array. My little hammer, retrieved after so long, has not been used yet." He hurriedly crawled over to the window, reached out with the chubby hand holding the array-breaking hammer towards the drifting array. The compassionate sage felt the urge to curse. If the array is broken, this strand of soul cannot withstand the chaotic void currents and would be easily torn apart. It tried desperately to control its direction, trying to steer away from Xianxia's array-breaking hammer. But the chaotic void currents were beyond its control, continuously pushing it towards the window. Xianxia raised the hammer, his chubby face brimming with an excited smile. The compassionate sage's eyes contracted sharply, and looking at the approaching chubby face, it screamed, "Don't come near, stay away." The array still drifted to Xianxia, who eagerly slammed it with a hammer. With a crack, the temporary array set up by the compassionate sage, for its divided soul couldn't withstand the blow. The array shattered on the spot. The compassionate sage's soul was instantly torn apart by the tumultuous void currents pouring in from all directions. It let out a bitter and frustrated roar. "You damn child!" Central Earth, Hunyuan State. Jiang Fan took out a series of jade bottles and drained the blood of the compassionate sage. The blood of the sage is a valuable thing, capable of quickly sobering someone overcome with madness. He had exerted enormous effort to obtain even a little back then. Now with the corpse here, how could he let it go waste? Once no more blood could be drawn, Jiang Fan stopped. Then he searched the body, retrieving several space storage devices, looking regretfully at them. The treasure of a sage, unimaginable what might be inside. Unfortunately, without a spell, they can't be opened. Thinking for a moment, he hesitated to discard them. Keep them for now, and when Qingye comes, ask her whether there's a way to forcibly open the storage devices. At worst, share the spoils 50-50. As for the compassionate sage's corpse, he wouldn't waste it either. Preserve the corpse for now, and when the time comes, ask the great wine sacrifice whether some time retrospection law can be extracted. Besides that, Jiang Fan retrieved the 9-colored crystal. Looking at the item, he wore a wry smile. Truly a worthless lump. Did the white-robed skeleton's words indeed come true? Desiring to kill a sage with this was mere foolishness. He felt rebellious. Can there truly be a magical treasure that cannot be used? At this time, Iceheart Venerate was the first to arrive, still bleeding constantly from her mouth, a testament to her severe injuries. Yet her eyes gleamed brightly as she surveyed around. She wanted very much to ask Jiang Fan about the Hell Realm Master's world artifact he swindled. "What are you looking at? Sneaky?" Jiang Fan asked, surprised. Ice Heart Venerate withdrew her gaze guiltily, not yet wanting to reveal her flowers in bloom identity. She pledged to disguise herself as an old lady and meet Jiang Fan offline, and she was determined to follow through. "You are the one being sneaky," Ice Heart Venerate pouted, extending a pale, delicate hand. "You returned the wish paper in Hunyuan state. Now give it back to me." Jiang Fan's mouth twitched, and he casually took out a bottle of blood of the sage, saying, "Stingy, here you go." Ice Heart Venerate's eyes lit up, gleefully grabbing it. "Blood of the sage, this is a good thing indeed. All right, we're even now." Even? Jiang Fan was puzzled. Did he have other dealings with Ice Heart Venerate? At this time, the Jiangshan first-class building owner and others arrived one after another. Looking at the earth turned to lava, they were in immense shock. The Jiangshan first-class building owner looked around, frowning. Compassionate sage, he? He had a vague guess in his mind, but did not dare to confirm. He had faintly felt an extraordinary power descending earlier. Jiang Fan said. Dead, as if to confirm his words, spiritual rain suddenly began to fall from the heavens without warning. This spiritual rain falls only when a sage falls. The Jiangshan first-class building owner exclaimed. He really died. How did you do it? The Star Mountain Master gazed up at the spiritual rain. The dark clouds weighing on his heart for countless years dissipated at this moment. The returning ruined state is free. Yet soon, looking at Jiang Fan, his heart ached. How could he not leave anything for Su Yining, a husband capable of slaying a sage with divinity transformation? Alas, alas. Ice Heart Venerate stood dumbfounded, finally realizing where the blood of the sage came from. She shrank back a bit, muttering, "This guy is so terrifying, I better stay away." Golden Scale Venerate and Wan Bing Venerate were also shocked, stepping forward to inquire. Jiang Fan smiled silently, pointed to the spiritual rain above, and said, "Everyone, let's first receive the spiritual rain blessing. The old dog Compassionate drained so much of our central Earth's blood to gain sage cultivation. We cannot let it go to waste." Upon hearing his words, everyone suppressed their questions, sat cross-legged, and absorbed as much of the spiritual rain as possible. The spiritual rain was greatly beneficial for their injuries and cultivation. Even Jiang Fan found clearer insight into the path of perfection under the bathing of the spiritual rain. The second altar step in his danshan had his consciousness reach the fifth step. If combined with his accumulated insight and the truth fruit, igniting the second altar and breaking through heavenly human two declines was within grasp. "Compassionate sage, the treasure you left behind, I've claimed it." Jiang Fan smiled faintly. At this moment, he suddenly noticed a glowing jade talisman floating in the lava, retaining the breath of the demoness. Feeling a surge inside, he reached out to retrieve the jade talisman from afar. He found it a piece engraved with the demoness's divine thought. Hesitating momentarily, he placed the jade talisman against his forehead. In his mind, the seductive laughter of the demoness echoed instantly. However, what she said made Jiang Fan's hair stand on end. "Young gentleman, my master is coming for you. Other than the continent, no place can protect you. Take care of yourself. Love, Demoness Manhwa." "Son, the master of the demoness, isn't it the Usura Saint's son? He's coming." Jiang Fan's gaze flickered intensely. This jade piece was left before the battle with the Compassionate Sage, and quite some time has passed. The Usura Saint's son is probably arriving soon. No, he might already be here, but he's apprehensive of the Hell Realm Master's avatar and doesn't dare show up. He sensed a great crisis and suddenly stood up. The Jiangshan first-class building owner opened his eyes and asked in surprise, "What's wrong?" Jiang Fan suppressed the shock on his face, pretending to be nonchalant. "I have finished my cultivation. The building owner and the venerables can continue cultivating here. I will go to the Qinshan Bureau to meet up with our friends from Taikang State. Farewell." With those words, he packed the hell beast and immediately performed instantaneous movement. The Usura Saint's son is even more ruthless than the Compassionate Sage. The Ice and Fire Demon Lord merely prepared to gather intelligence on him and was thrown into the void, barely surviving. If he encounters the venerables, he might kill them effortlessly. What he needs to do now is rush to the continent. As the demoness said, the only place that can protect him is the continent where sages stop. Soon after, he successfully arrived at the 7 cities of Heavenly Abyss. A long crack divided the returning ruins state into the eastern and western continent, the western continent belonging to the human clan, and the eastern continent to the half-giant. From today, this boundary will be erased. Jiang Fan crossed over the crack, but suddenly underground there was a rumbling sound. Immediately, a cracking sound of the world barrier breaking was heard. Jiang Fan's hair stood on end. Has the Usura Saint's son chased him here? As a crack in the void was torn open, an elder dressed in a 100-patched robe, emitting a foul odor, burst out from the void, looking like a beggar. It was Tianluo Sage. He was the earliest suspect Jiang Fan had for being the Usura Saint's son. Now, after the demoness's reminder, he appeared right after. Who would believe he isn't the Usura Saint's son? Further convincing Jiang Fan was. He flashed to Jiang Fan's front, his pair of deep-set eyes staring straight at Jiang Fan, saying, "Kid, give me the prison-suppressing soul scripture, and I'll give you some benefits." There's no more pretense. By now, Jiang Fan has already understood part of the Usura Saint's son's purpose in Central Earth. That is to follow the Buddha's past path, quell the dead spirits through prison-suppressing soul scripture, and absorb unlimited merit power. Successfully ascend to the position of the three calamities, Sage Realm, or even enter the Saint Realm. The battle in Central Earth failed 1,000 years ago, leading to Central Earth facing an extinction crisis this time, with billions of lives perishing. If one possesses the prison-suppressing soul scripture and absolves all the dead spirits, how much merit would that be? Entering the Saint Realm through this is no mere alarmist talk. Someone insightful in the Hell Realm saw this, thus sending the Usura Saint's son to Central Earth to seize this massive millennium opportunity. But the Usura Saint's son missed 2 points. One is the loss of the prison-suppressing soul scripture. 2 is Central Earth's victory, with some casualties but not as massive as expected, making further progress in the Wise Man realm difficult, let alone entering the Saint Realm. This is why the Usura Saint's son risked exposure and secretly influenced the White Horse Temple and Jiang family to help find the prison-suppressing soul scripture. However, what Jiang Fan couldn't understand was, since the prison-suppressing soul scripture had lost its expected function, why does the Usura Saint's son still relentlessly pursue him? Now, he should be leaving Central Earth quickly and fleeing back to the Hell Realm. If he stays, his identity is bound to be uncovered, and he won't be able to leave when the time comes. "Kid, why are you hesitating?" Tianluo Sage urged, looking somewhat anxious. Jiang Fan's gaze flickered, saying, "Senior, don't worry, Junior will fetch it for you immediately." With a thought, the 9-colored crystal in the space storage device began to shake. But just at this moment, from the void fissure that was about to heal, 2 sage auras simultaneously emerged. One was the Red Face Sage, and the other was Wanyan Sage. Seeing their arrival, Tianluo Sage secretly sighed. Wanyan Sage frowned. "Tianluo, why are you urgently blocking Jiang Fan? Isn't it to demand the prison-suppressing soul scripture?" Tianluo Sage glared at him sideways. "What's it to you?" Wanyan Sage snorted. "Don't bully the young as a senior." He flashed between the two, separating Tianluo Sage. "Ignore that beggar. What's with the compassionate sage? Why is spirit rain descending on our continent?" Their arrival greatly relieved Jiang Fan. He cupped his hands and said, "To report to the 2 seniors, the compassionate sage is dead." "What?" The red-faced sage gasped. "How did he die?" Wanyan Sage and Tianluo Sage were also incredibly shocked. For the first time in 1,000 years, a sage fell. Moreover, it wasn't in battle with the giant emperor, but during peace after the war. Jiang Fan didn't hide anything. Junior summoned the Hell Realm Master to kill him. Hiss. The red-faced sage looked at Jiang Fan in shock. "You kid!" He was so stunned he didn't know what to say. The little guy who was originally at the nascent soul realm can now kill a sage. Tianluo Sage and Wanyan Sage's eyes also showed a trace of apprehension as they looked at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan said, "Without consulting the sages, I hastily killed the compassionate sage. Please forgive me, seniors." The red-faced sage waved his hand. "No need to explain. We 3 came to resolve the compassionate issue. What he did not qualify him as a sage. Just didn't expect he'd die by your hand, given his character. He'd probably be extremely unwilling and aggrieved." Jiang Fan suddenly realized the 3 sages came to resolve the compassionate issue. That old dog had already provoked universal outrage, and the sages couldn't tolerate him anymore. He felt relieved but glanced at Tianluo Sage, his expression turning heavy again. With the poisonous tumor of compassion resolved, it's time to ferret out the Usura Saint's son. He stared at Tianluo Sage and bowed, saying, "2 seniors, please investigate Tianluo Sage thoroughly. Junior suspects he is the Usura Saint's son from the Hell Realm." The red-faced sage and Wanyan sage frowned, showing confusion. Obviously, they had never heard of the Asura saint's son. Jiang Fan said, "As Junior knows, a son of an Asura emperor from the Hell Realm infiltrated Central Earth 800 years ago. Now he has become one of the sages." "What?" The red-faced sage and Wanyan sage were both shocked. Wanyan sage gasped, "Is that possible?" The red-faced sage also felt chills. "Are you saying we fought side by side with an Asura saint's son?" "No, at the final battle, the situation was so precarious, if he'd betrayed us, our sages at Central Earth would have been utterly defeated." Jiang Fan continued to stare at Tianluo sage, saying, "We must thank Xingyuan Venerable, who invited that suspected Saint Realm Senior for Central Earth. His intervention intimidated the Asura saint's son. Before confirming his complete departure, the Asura saint's son didn't dare act recklessly." The red-faced sage and Wanyan sage exchanged glances, seeing the growing seriousness in each other's eyes. Jiang Fan's words are likely true. The intervention of that Saint Realm figure was terrifying. After the 9-day giant emperor was repelled, he didn't dare show his face again. Let alone the Asura saint's son. The two squinted, looking at Tianluo sage. Wanyan sage looked cautious. "Jiang Fan, are you certain Tianluo sage is the Asura saint's son?" Jiang Fan nodded. "I'm not certain, but he is the most suspicious." Fan had a list of 3 suspects: Wanyan sage, Tianluo sage, and ancient Zen Buddha Venerable. He thought the most suspicious one was ancient Zen Buddha Venerable, because the ice and fire demon lord had said, "Nowadays the prestige of the Asura saint's son is astonishing, with followers everywhere, even within his own ranks." This led to his investigation of the Asura saint's son being betrayed. And the words prestige astonishing most fit the ancient Zen Buddha Venerable, whose followers are spread throughout the 9 states. However, the demoness's jade scroll reminded him that the Asura saint's son had arrived. But among those who came, ancient Zen Buddha Venerable was not present, so he can be excluded. Then among the 3 people, the target is only left with Wanyan sage and Tianluo sage. Judging by how Tianluo sage was urgently seeking the prison-suppressing soul scripture, his suspicion was indeed the greatest. Tianluo sage laughed angrily. "You brat, aren't you just asking for the prison-suppressing soul scripture? How dare you slander this old man? Saying I'm the Asura saint's son, do you have proof? This crime I can't afford to bear." "Of course I have," Jiang Fan said coldly. He took out a blood-red orb. "You haven't forgotten this, have you?" Red-faced sage and Wanyan sage looked over and immediately frowned. Red-faced sage said, "This slaughter origin is not something from our Central Earth." Jiang Fan nodded deeply. "That's right." Back then, he showed this slaughter origin to the heavenly listening Bodhisattva, who also said the same thing. Jiang Fan said, "Not to hide from you 2 seniors, the Asura saint's son, to make the Jiang family help him find the prison-suppressing soul scripture. Gave the Jiang family quite a few slaughter skills filled with traps. Those who practice this skill at the end of their practice will fall into slaughter and need the legendary prison-suppressing soul scripture to calm their killing intent. And this origin was obtained by this junior from a stele engraved with slaughter skills. The giver should be a wisp of the split soul left by the Asura saint's son in it." At this point, Wanyan sage and red-faced sage both understood. This origin should carry the aura of the Asura saint's son. Compare it, and it can be confirmed. Red-faced sage pointed a finger, and a wisp of black airflow, invisible to the naked eye, was extracted from the origin. He squinted his eyes, revealing a chill in them. "Contains a trace of the Asura Emperor's cause and effect aura." Jiang Fan's judgment is correct. We indeed have an Asura Emperor from the Hell Realm mixed in with us. Wanyan sage's expression also turned cold, staring hard at Tianluo sage, and said, "You better pray this wisp of aura has nothing to do with you." As he spoke, red-faced sage also released the wisp of aura in his hand. It spun in place, searching for its master. It flew past red-faced sage, Wanyan sage, and Jiang Fan one after another. Finally, when it settled on Tianluo sage, it rushed over. Jiang Fan's gaze hardened. It really was Tianluo sage. Red-faced sage and Wanyan sage's expressions changed simultaneously, their auras soaring around them, and behind each appeared the Merit Divine Steel. Jiang Fan couldn't help glancing at the Merit Divine Steel behind Wanyan sage. That Merit Divine Steel was golden, completely different from the dark steel of the inferior sages. Wanyan sage was also a sage who entered through merit. The inferior sage who intercepted the luck of the Taikang state back then wasn't him. And when Jiang Fan looked at Tianluo sage, a steel also appeared behind him. A pitch-black steel, inferior sage. The person who stole the luck of the Taikang state to enter sagehood was Tianluo sage. The truth was completely revealed. At this moment, Tianluo sage's expression was gloomy, exuding a chilling aura. He stared coldly at Jiang Fan, no longer hiding. "Brat, you've ruined the great affairs of our hell realm." Tianluo sage's eyes revealed a murderous intent, and the pressure of the sage suddenly radiated out. Red-faced sage and Wan Yun sage were extremely angry and attacked together. Wan Yun sage laughed angrily, posing as a sage of Central Earth, yet daring to harm the heroes of our Central Earth in front of us. Red-faced sage directly summoned the Iron Hammer, a quasi-holy artifact. "I didn't hammer that old thing, compassionate sage, so I'll hammer you." The terrifying fluctuations from the sage shook heaven and earth with destructive force. Red-faced sage said, "Wan Yun, you send Jiang Fan back to the Taikang state. I'll play with the Usura Saint's son first." Wan Yun sage waved his hand casually, shielding Jiang Fan from the terrifying sage fluctuations, and said uncomfortably, "You always get the good parts first. Then don't die at his hands, wait for me to come back." Immediately, he picked up Jiang Fan by the shoulder. "Come with me." In the blink of an eye, the world spun, comparable to riding a state-level teleportation array. In just a few breaths, Jiang Fan appeared in front of the Qinshan Bureau. Of the 8 floating islands, 7 were still in a state of disrepair. Only the island leading to the Taikang state had been successfully repaired, with the array inside emanating a powerful wave. It seems that True Word Venerable and the others were sensible enough not to rush back with Jiang Wuya and Red Demon Venerable, but instead chose to repair the state-level teleportation array to prepare a way back for Jiang Fan and the others. "We've arrived." Wan Yun sage put Jiang Fan down. "Thank you, Senior." Jiang Fan calmly expressed his gratitude and glanced at the hand still resting on his shoulder. He said indifferently, "Senior, you can leave now." Wan Yun sage's shoulders shook and a faint laugh emerged from his nostrils. "Heh heh, heh 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 heh. Jiang Fan, this Usura Saint's son has had such a hard time finding you." He turned his head, the gentle eyes filled with mockery and a smile of triumph. "You didn't expect it, did you? I'm the Usura Saint's son you've been searching for all along." Suddenly, the sky rumbled with thunder, one clap after another, deafening. The flickering thunder light cast the world into alternating brightness and darkness, like a scene from the end of the world. Who could have thought that the real Usura Saint's son wasn't Tianluo sage, but was in fact Wan Yun sage, the one who once valiantly charged alone towards the giant emperor, risking his life? And who could have thought that the Usura Saint's son did not steal the luck of the Taikang state to enter sagehood back then, but entered through merit? Wan Yun sage, no, it should be Usura Saint's son. His face in the flashing thunder light looked capricious. His face was filled with a sense of self-satisfaction for controlling everything from the shadows and ultimately winning. "Though you were vigilant enough to anger me several times. But you ultimately fell into my hands. Isn't it surprising?" However, what made the Usura Saint's son's expression slightly tighten was, he couldn't see any surprise on Jiang Fan's face. Instead, there was just calmness. "You finally revealed your true colors, Usura Saint's son." Jiang Fan's hands were somehow cradling the 9-dragon demon tripod, its mouth aimed at the Usura Saint's son. Inside was a mass of space origin, ready to be activated at any moment. The Usura Saint's son squinted his eyes. "You figured it was me all along," Jiang Fan said calmly. "Was it very hard to guess?" "I've made any mistakes?" He was quite sure of his ability to conceal himself. For 800 years, he hadn't been detected by the sages of Central Earth, proving his skill. Jiang Fan said, "Your biggest mistake was searching for the soul-calming scripture of the town hell. This scripture isn't necessary for an inferior sage." So, when the Tianluo sage displayed the inferior sage's black tablet, I knew he couldn't be the Usura son. Upon hearing this, the Usura son's eyes flickered and he said, "That doesn't necessarily mean it's me." Jiang Fan calmly said, "Indeed, I once suspected the ancient Zen Buddha Venerable in the heavenly state, because from what I know, the Usura son is incredibly renowned. The ancient Zen Buddha Venerable fits this perfectly. But then, I remembered something else, which is that this Usura son is skilled at manipulating things from behind the scenes. Spreading dreams in the White Horse Temple and controlling the Jiang family all indicate that the Usura son prefers to hide in the background. So, the most eye-catching ancient Zen Buddha Venerable cannot be the Usura son. In these 800 years, those who have broken into the virtuous realm are only you, the Tianluo sage, the 9 Nether Demon Venerable, and the ancient Zen Buddha Venerable. They've all been ruled out, leaving only you as the possibility." He stared at the Asura son, unable to help but admire his excellent concealment. Originally, Jiang Fan had suspected him, but during the decisive battle, his lone charge to the giant emperor, sacrificing himself, completely dispelled his doubts. Later, he repeatedly spoke up for Central Earth and justice. The compassionate sage, a native sage of Central Earth, couldn't even compare to him, an alien race. If it weren't for the Tian Luo sage exposing the inferior sage's tablet, Jiang Fan wouldn't dare confirm that the Wan Yun sage is the Asura son. Today, the truth finally came out. The Asura son stared tightly at Jiang Fan, feeling frustrated that he, who prided himself on manipulating everything, was easily exposed by a mere little divinity transformation realm. "So what if you've guessed it? You're still on a path to death," he said coldly. "Hand over the soul-calming scripture of the town hell and I'll give you a quick death. Don't doubt the hell realm's methods of torture. Living a fate worse than death is merely your limits as beings of Central Earth, but to us in the hell realm, it's just the beginning." Jiang Fan's eyes flickered and he said, "I can hand it over to you, but answer me 2 questions. The Asura son looked at Jiang Fan teasingly. "I don't like bargaining with people, but as a troublesome prey like you, I'll make an exception. Ask away." Jiang Fan said, "First, the Tian Luo sage is actually your puppet, isn't he?" "Of course," the Asura son said straightforwardly. "Without my help, how could a mere ordinary heavenly human with 3 declines become a great venerate and attain the virtue to enter sage?" Jiang Fan sighed inwardly indeed. He hadn't forgotten the Asura son's race, the bloodthirsty Asura clan, who grow by devouring others' essence blood, and also have the ability to control others as puppets. Over the years, situations inconvenient for the Asura son to handle were all placed in the hands of the Tian Luo sage. This is also why he could hide so well. Second question, the soul-calming scripture of the town hell is already not meeting your expectations. You're revealing your identity by capturing me. Surely there's another intention, isn't there? The Asura son chuckled, his eyes sharpening. "No wonder you could carry that woman's remnant soul. You indeed have an extraordinary insight. Unfortunately, I can't answer this question for you. Now, hand over the soul-calming scripture of the town hell, and I'll send you where you belong." Jiang Fan nodded and said, "All right." His mind stirred, and the space origin inside the 9-dragon demon tripod he carried exploded. With a bang, the lid of the tripod was flung open. The Asura son had been watching the 9-dragon demon tripod in Jiang Fan's hand closely. With a glance, he sent it flying. Struggling in vain. The Asura son's eyes turned fierce as blood-colored flames emerged from his palm and entered Jiang Fan's body. But at this moment, a long soaring stem suddenly shot out from the 9-dragon demon tripod that had flown away, thrusting towards the 2 of them like lightning. The Asura son's expression changed slightly. "What is that?" As he looked into the tripod, he vaguely saw the bottom connected to the void, with a human-shaped lotus trying to return to Central Earth through the 9-dragon demon tripod. Black Lotus of Tribulation. The Asura son's face revealed shock. In that moment of doubt, it wound around his waist. The soaring stem split off, quickly wrapping around Jiang Fan. But unexpectedly, a continent from the void collided and sent the Black Lotus of Tribulation flying. The soaring stem aimed at Jiang Fan was slightly diverted and failed to wrap around him. It only dragged the Asura son into the void. The Asura son didn't have time to care about Jiang Fan. He quickly burned the soaring stem with the blood-colored flames from his palm and shouted, "Where did the Black Lotus of Tribulation come from? Wasn't the last Black Lotus of Tribulation in the Hell Realm extinct 1,000,000 years ago?" Realizing the danger of the Black Lotus of Tribulation, he struggled desperately. Taking this opportunity, Jiang Fan shouted, "Seal!" The tripod lid closed, sealing the void. Jiang Fan's heart raced with sweat trickling down, resorting to borrowing the Black Lotus of Tribulation out of desperation. He was slightly puzzled, though, as the attack by the Black Lotus of Tribulation was coincidentally knocked away by a continent. What kind of divine luck is this? He felt his luck might rival that of Wang Chengxiao. No matter, he hurriedly escaped while the 2 were still entangled. He swiftly fled to the state-level transmission array and decisively activated it to teleport to the Taikang state. Upon activation, he entered the spatial channel within the void. Through the spatial barrier, he saw the Asura son and the Black Lotus of Tribulation engaged in battle. At this moment, the Asura son revealed his true form, showing itself to be a bloody red demon with sharp teeth and 2 fierce horns atop its head. completely different from the usual image of a gentle gentleman. Jiang Fan wasn't surprised by his true form. What amazed him was the black lotus of tribulation. Looking at that lotus root part sent shivers down Jiang Fan's spine. The last time he encountered the black lotus of tribulation in the void with Yue Mingzhu, it only had a rudimentary humanoid outline, most just having the top of the lotus root resembling a head with round bulbs, with two depressions where eyes should be, like eyes. But who knows what this ghostly thing has been through recently. It now possesses a clear set of facial features, with shut eyes, a high nose bridge, thin lips, and a pair of ears. Its body was completely humanized, with a torso and limbs already appearing, and even defined chest and abdominal muscles. If it hadn't been entirely black, with a leaf on its head and exuding the aura of heaven and earth spiritual objects, one would mistake it for a real person. Noticing Jiang Fan, the black lotus of tribulation decisively released the Asura sun and sped towards Jiang Fan. Its speed was far beyond the slow drifting in the void back then, now matching the speed of intercontinental teleportation. In the blink of an eye, it reached the spatial barrier front. Fan's face darkened slightly. Wasn't it just one lotus seed? Why is it still clinging on? Crack! The barrier of the space passage started to crack under the pressure of the black lotus of tribulation, seemingly about to shatter. Jiang Fan was still relatively calm in his heart. The current situation is different from before. He had gotten void wings from Yun Wangxiao, so even if the space passage broke, he could fly in the void. Only unsure about the speed, wondering if it could be faster than the black lotus of tribulation. "That's my prey." The Asura Saint Sun saw Jiang Fan about to perish and flew over, grabbing the soaring stem of the black lotus of tribulation and flinging it away. The two resumed their battle. Jiang Fan managed to escape smoothly with an instantaneous movement. After a dizzying whirl, Jiang Fan's feet steadied and thin spiritual energy surged up. No need to say, he definitely succeeded in returning to Taikang state. He flashed out and was met with the eager face of the Six-Path Masters. "Commander Bai, the cemetery has been built." "Oh, I supervised it personally. It's built very beautifully." "Oh, while cleaning the battlefield, I found a Heavenly Realm bracelet. I'll give it to you." "No need, thanks." Six-Path Masters awkwardly withdrew the bracelet, always trying to close the gap with Bai Xin. But Bai Xin's indifferent demeanor made things difficult. So far, only Jiang Fan seemed to elicit any emotional response from her. "What's so good about that kid?" Six-Path Masters muttered unhappily. Just then, he heard disdainful words in his ear. "Daughter's slave? Bah!" Then the array on the main island lit up, followed by the activation of space transmission. Recognizing Jiang Fan's voice, Six-Path Masters blushed with embarrassment. "Who's a daughter's slave? What's wrong with talking to my daughter? What does a kid without children like you know?" At this point, a communication jade talisman fell in front of him. Upon picking it up, it was Jiang Fan's recorded voice, transmitting Jiang Fan's message. "If Great Wine Sacrifice returns, please take good care of my Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion staff." With Jiang Fan gone, he was able to hide, fearing the Asura Saint Sun might threaten him with the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion personnel. Hopefully, Great Wine Sacrifice, or the sage with a red face, can return soon. Not long after, Jiang Fan appeared from the transmission array in White Horse Temple. He flashed and was ready to leave, but suddenly remembered that White Horse Temple also held an unusual individual. Tianji, this relationship-important figure, needed him to watch personally. However, when he glanced over the underground palace, his face turned solemn. The underground palace was empty. An expressionless monk, obviously turned into a puppet, lay listlessly in front of the cell. The cell door was already open. This third princess of the Dark Shura clan had used her talent to control a monk and escaped during the ancient giant battle. Knew she wasn't that honest. Jiang Fan realized his miscalculation. This girl's soul had a restriction, prohibiting forced exploration. Clearly she was hiding something. She had stayed obediently in White Horse Temple, waiting for the chaos opportunity during the ancient giant battle to escape. No, Jiang Fan even suspected that being captured by Taikang State was part of her plan. After all, she climbed down from the heavenly realm, most likely came to Central Earth with a purpose. Scanning around, unable to find her whereabouts, Jiang Fan could only alert the monks at White Horse Temple and rushed to the continent. He moved quickly with instantaneous movement, unsure if he was fully entangled with the Black Lotus of tribulation, or if it was because he dared not reappear in Central Earth. Approaching the continent, The Usura Saint Sun was nowhere in sight. Glancing at the continent close at hand, Jiang Fan relaxed slightly. For now, he seemed to have escaped the Usura Saint Sun's pursuit. However, the unexpected happened. The sea beneath his feet turned black like ink. Soon, two black-robed members of the Usura clan emerged from the seabed. They had 5 crowns on their heads, evidently 5 crowned Usura kings, emanating terrifying aura. At their feet, puppets with powerful strength and dull eyes gradually floated up. Roughly counting, there were 20 puppets in total. All were other clans' Usura clan, the weakest being 4 crowned Usura kings, the strongest being 5 crowned. Jiang Fan abruptly stopped, his face showing deep seriousness. Dark Shura clan? Only the Dark Shura clan from the heavenly realm could control puppets on such a large scale. 20 plus 4 crowned to 5 crowned Usura kings. What kind of combat power is this? Taking on a giant central tribal army individually wouldn't be difficult. Even with 3 heads and 6 arms, Jiang Fan would struggle. However, he might not need to deal with them. Upon noticing, he decisively used the no-self dust cleansing technique to enter invisibility state. Then he slipped towards the continent with an instantaneous movement. With his divinity transformation realm cultivation, he could arrive in a breath. One of the 5 crowned Usura kings under the black robe stood with his hands behind him, his voice dark. Can you escape? Ruining the cooperation between our Dark Shura clan and the Giant clan, you should consider today's outcome. He seemed to see through Jiang Fan's invisibility, firmly locking onto his path. With a wave of his hand, the 10 puppets behind him emitted a variety of terrifying talents. The other 5 crowned Usura king also took action. His 10 puppets followed suit. 20 talents ranging from 4 crowned to 5 crowned, even a sage must tread carefully. However, what astonished the 2 5-crowned Usura kings? The dense talents formed a huge net surrounding Jiang Fan, interlaced and collided. Yet not one talent hit him. He was like a small fish under 20 giant nets, slipping dramatically through a tiny mesh. This shocking scene left the 2 5-crowned Usura kings stunned. What luck against heaven's odds? When they realized, they hurriedly controlled the puppets to strike again. But Jiang Fan had already instantaneously moved to the continent, smiling. As he guessed, he, like Wang Qingye, was lucky beyond bounds now. Even wanting to die is not so easy. Vaguely, he had guessed how it happened. The continent was within reach. The next moment, Jiang Fan stopped in place. Accurately, he was forced to stop. A delicate jade hand disregarded his vast fortune and pressed upon his shoulder, pinning him. Jiang Fan's heart tightened. Who could appear silently behind and subdue him? There's only one answer. As he turned, a very beautiful middle-aged woman stood behind him. Wearing a magnificent golden gown, a luxurious phoenix crown on her head, top-grade spiritual artifact-level jewelry adorning her ears and neck. Her facial features were beautiful, dignified, and authoritative, giving a sense of noble supremacy from high above. No divine rings on the back of her head, her aura seemed mundane. This kind of presence was no stranger to Jiang Fan. It's the Usura Emperor, Dark Clan's Usura Empress. Jiang Fan was numb. He expected that the giants, unwilling to lose, might send the Dark Shura clan to assassinate him, disregarding the peace monument. But never thought they'd send an Usura Emperor. What heavenly rule did he break? The 2 5-crowned Usura kings hurriedly flashed and approached, kneeling with fear and trepidation. Incompetent subordinates, please Empress decree punishment. Usura Empress's voice was exceptionally dignified. Not your fault. This one who ranks first among the 100 realms of all heavens is no easy opponent. She turned Jiang Fan around, lightly looking at him with phoenix eyes, saying softly, "Hand over my son and daughter." Jiang Fan finally understood why an Usura Empress had descended. It was because the mother of the heavenly sword and Tian Qin had come looking for them. The connecting sky-black pillar was already on the verge of collapse. If they're not found soon, these two would never return to the heavenly realm. This forced their mother down into the lower realm to seek them out. Jiang Fan's heart sank. The arrival of the Usura Empress was too sudden, and he was unprepared. To take out the 9-colored crystal or the 9-dragon demon tripod was already too late. If he made even the slightest move, the opponent could kill him instantly. Yet even if he handed over Tian Qin and the heavenly sword, the opponent would still kill him immediately. No matter what, it was death. His heart sank further as his glance swept behind him to the coastline, just a few miles away. He had to try once more. He sneered, "You're talking about the heavenly sword and Tian Qin, right? Indeed, I captured them and they're on this island. I can take you to find them." The Asura Empress withdrew her hand, but an overwhelming power of cause and effect locked Jiang Fan in place. She scrutinized the continent behind Jiang Fan with great interest, a deep fear surfacing on her incredibly beautiful face, and slowly said, "Divinity transformation forbidden, sages be warned. To defy ancient restriction, even the Buddha cannot cross." Jiang Fan's face froze. The Dark Shura clan knew the ancient legend of this continent. Not many in Central Earth are aware. The Asura Empress's phoenix eyes slowly shifted to Jiang Fan, trying to trick us onto the continent. Jiang Fan awkwardly replied, "That ancient restriction has long been lifted. I can go and show you." The Asura Empress watched Jiang Fan. She found it strange, too. Jiang Fan had charged straight into the continent without a word just now. If she hadn't stopped him in time, Jiang Fan would have already entered the continent. From what she knew, the restriction on this continent applied to any race's divinity transformation realm, including the human clan. Jiang Fan was already in the divinity transformation realm, so how could he dare rush to the continent? Could it be that the restriction was truly lifted? As she pondered this, she gently waved her sleeve. A puppet of a four-crowned Asura king was flung towards the continent. It barely crossed the coastline before it exploded into a blood mist, which then disintegrated into the void, disappearing without a trace. The Asura Empress took a step back, her phoenix eyes glaring at Jiang Fan. "The restriction has not been lifted. Why did you charge straight in? Could the restriction have made an exception for you?" Unlikely, this restriction was established by the ancient saint of cloud desolation. She wouldn't show favoritism to anyone. Jiang Fan did not respond. He dared to charge in because he was sure the restriction was ineffective on him. Because when he was still in the nascent soul realm, he had brought Princess Zaijiang, the giant king, to the continent once. At that time, Princess Zaijiang entered and exited without harm. Thus, he was certain the ancient saint had made an exception for him, allowing him and those he carried to freely enter and exit the continent. The Asura Empress, getting no response, lost her patience. "Fine with not speaking. The connecting sky-black pillar is near collapse, and I have no time to bother with you." She reached into Jiang Fan's arms, searching until she directly grasped the space mirror. She was able to pinpoint Jiang Fan's location and intercept him in advance because of this mirror. Because Tian Qin was trapped inside. Her presence was like a giant beacon for the Asura Empress. It could be sensed across a great state. She glanced into the mirror and found Tian Qin safe and sound. This eased her anxiety slightly. Continuing her search, she exclaimed in surprise, "Why are there also two of our clan's 5-crowned Asura kings here? Weren't they in the heavenly realm?" She gave Jiang Fan a look and sneered, "Captured my children and imprisoned my clan's strong ones. You are clearly against my Dark Shura clan, aren't you?" After her words, she continued to search. Seeing two little spirit beasts, one was sound asleep, looking rather cute. The other was holding a small rod, interrogating Tian Qin, looking truly detestable. Additionally, there was a miniature hell beast, 2 divinity transformation souls, and a sleeping old woman with 9 apertures nascent soul. But there was no heavenly sword. Her phoenix eyes narrowed. "Where's the heavenly sword? I don't want to hear that he's dead." Jiang Fan's heart sank slowly. If the Asura Empress rescued Tian Qin, it would be fine, but the space mirror held the little Qilin and the rebellious Guy, among others. If she took the space mirror, it would be a huge problem. Most troubling was that the heavenly sword was in the Tai Chu prison sky gourd, and she only needed to ask Tian Qin to learn of its existence. Then the gourd would surely become hers, turning into a threat for Central Earth. There was only one strategy now. He looked up at the sky and shouted, "Ancient saint, you old woman!" This petty ancient saint, whom no bad word could be said against, would certainly not tolerate Jiang Fan calling her an old woman. If only she would strike him with a thunderbolt, he could break free of the Asura Empress's constraint, and he'd have the chance to retreat to the continent. Then he could use the heavenly sword as leverage to demand the return of the space mirror. The Asura Empress recognized Jiang Fan's intent, shaking her head. "Don't waste your effort. Sages of any world have become the embodiment of world will, devoid of personal emotions. They wouldn't have emotional fluctuations because of anyone." Her words weren't even finished when, surprisingly for the Asura Empress and the 2 5-crowned Asura kings, a white light flashed across the sky. The ancient saint actually responded to him. Straight away, a thunderbolt, thicker than the giant emperor, struck down. It struck not only Jiang Fan but enveloped them within its range as well. But the one insulting the ancient saint was Jiang Fan. If anything, strike him. Why include them too? They couldn't escape the thunderbolt, feeling a sense of being firmly locked in place, leaving the Asura Empress powerless. In an instant, the group was struck by the massive thunderbolt. Fortunately, the power of the thunderbolt was aligned with Jiang Fan's endurance limit, posing little damage to them. It merely left them looking rather disheveled. As for Jiang Fan, the Asura Empress suddenly sensed a divinity transformation fluctuation, realizing instantly that Jiang Fan escaped. She felt deeply uneasy. A vortex representing the one prison Asura Emperor appeared above, intending to deploy the power of cause and effect to intercept Jiang Fan. But with a calculated mind, it was still a beat late. Jiang Fan had already instantaneously moved back to the continent a few miles away. As his feet touched the ground, Jiang Fan exhaled deeply, stabilized. The ancient saint wasn't gentle. The thick thunderbolt scorched him, leaving his hair singed. Apparently, to an ancient saint that's lived for tens of thousands of years, being called old isn't allowed. Old age is every woman's greatest foe, after all. The Asura Empress and the two five-crowned Asura kings rushed to the coastline, watching him in disbelief. Empress, he's unaffected by the mainland's rules. A five-crowned Asura king exclaimed in surprise, dispatching another puppet across the coastline. The left foot barely touched the ground before exploding into the void. The restriction had not been undone. The Asura Empress was full of doubt. What's the matter with this kid? It's surprising enough that the ancient saint responded to him, but the mainland's restriction making an exception for him. Then heading to that place, wouldn't he face no obstacles? Her phoenix eyes flickered, her gaze becoming uncertain. The heavenly sword is with me, let's make a deal. The Asura Empress secretly breathed a sigh of relief. She couldn't sense the aura of the heavenly sword and had already prepared herself for his demise. Unexpectedly, he was still alive, which was a huge surprise. Her phoenix eyes flickered and she said, "All right, release the heavenly sword and I'll return the space mirror to you. However, if you release the heavenly sword, won't he be killed by the ban of the continent? How about you come out and I vow not to harm you?" Jiang Fan sneered. "You won't harm me, but you can kill me, capture me, imprison me, or let your subordinates do it. The Grand Asura Empress is playing word games with a junior. Trying to outsmart me, you've got the wrong person." The Asura Empress sighed inwardly, acknowledging that this guy was indeed hard to deceive. She came to Central Earth with two goals: to rescue her children and to bring back Jiang Fan's head as an explanation to the giant emperor of the Central Tribe. How could she give up easily? Seeing the connecting sky-black pillar collapsing more and more, unable to hold on much longer, she lost her patience. Once the connecting sky-black pillar collapses, she would have to break open the world's barrier and detour through the void back to the heavenly realm. This is not only troublesome, but breaking open the world's barrier makes a great uproar, which could attract the sages of Central Earth. Her phoenix eyes simmered with authority, and she said indifferently, "Do you think hiding in the continent means I can't do anything to you? You lack sufficient awe for the Asura Emperor." A vortex above her head suddenly began to spin, and a wave of the power of cause and effect emanated. "All things are slaves," she murmured softly, and the power of cause and effect spread into the continent, enveloping Jiang Fan. However, her expression changed slightly. Jiang Fan seemed to have already prepared. He took out a sleek, white bell a meter tall and inverted it over himself. Through a damaged part, only two eyes peeked out. Her power of cause and effect struck the white bell, with most being deflected and a small portion absorbed. Jiang Fan, hidden inside, spoke with a muffled voice. "Got any more? Bring some more." It seemed this bell indeed didn't have the power of yesteryears, but it could still absorb a small fraction of the power of cause and effect. However, as a defensive magical treasure able to withstand the laws of the Sage Realm, it was still quite impressive. As long as he ensured that the bell wouldn't be taken away, it was truly an invincible treasure. The Asura Empress's phoenix eyes were filled with fury, unconvinced, and she unleashed the power of cause and effect twice more. But the result was the same. The bell deflected all, absorbing only a few. Jiang Fan remained unharmed inside. "Come on, more, that's not enough, not even close." What frustrated the Asura Empress even more was Jiang Fan's constant provocation from inside the bell. She took a deep breath to calm herself. Meanwhile, the connecting sky-black pillar rumbled on the verge of collapsing. There was no time left. She hastily said, "All right, I won't kill you. Hand over my son and I'll return the mirror and we will owe each other nothing." She had no choice but to compromise, abandoning the mission to assassinate Jiang Fan. Let the giants deal with it themselves, she won't care anymore. Jiang Fan also noticed the commotion of the connecting sky-black pillar and knew that time was on his side, so how could he let her off easily? HMPH, your son almost caused us a great defeat, and you nearly killed me. Both publicly and privately, I can't let you leave easily. As he spoke, he manipulated the white bell to retreat backward, preventing the Asura Empress from using some method to drag him out of the continent. The Asura Empress laughed in anger. You still want to negotiate terms with me? Jiang Fan's only exposed eyes flickered, and he said, Then let's both suffer. I'll kill one 5-crowned king of hell, and you can destroy all the beings in the mirror. Anyway, Central Earth won't be at a loss. The Asura Empress glared at Jiang Fan, her eyes filled with murderous intent. The mirror contains some nascent souls and divinity transformation spirits. What are they compared to a 5-crowned lord of hell? Moreover, that was her son. What do you want? She asked sternly. Jiang Fan pondered and said, Give me a portion of your power of cause and effect. The Asura Empress chuckled. You have good taste, but unfortunately I just used my power of cause and effect on you. Choose something else. Jiang Fan spat blood. This extravagant woman, not even saving a bit of the power of cause and effect, and now when he wanted it, there was none left. After contemplating, he could only make a secondary request. I want to know how you 5-crowned Asuras break through to the Asura Emperor realm. Judging by the situation in the Hell realm, it didn't seem like they entered the Emperor realm through merit. The Asura Empress contemplated for a moment. This wasn't a secret, so she didn't hide it. It's similar to the demonic race in Central Earth. The demon race needs to return to their ancestors, whereas the Asura clan needs to enhance their bloodline power to reach a certain stage, naturally stepping into the Emperor realm. Jiang Fan recalled Green Pearl obtaining a drop of the Asura saint's holy blood during the primordial hunting. He was secretly pleased that Green Pearl chose that blood. However, one drop of blood was not enough. Also, he needed to prepare for Su Yoren. Now Su Yoren relied on the resources of the Asuras to cultivate to the nascent soul realm, yet she hasn't converted to the Asura clan. But if she wants to advance further to become an Asura king, she will eventually become part of the Asura clan. At that time, for her to progress to higher levels like the Asura Emperor, her human bloodline conversion would be a significant disadvantage. He should plan ahead and prepare for her. It's best if she doesn't follow the path of the Asura, but if she does, he will pave some paths for her. Then give me something to enhance my bloodline, whether it's heavenly materials and earthly treasures or magical treasures, or even the blood of an Asura saint would do. The Asura Empress resolutely said, Daydream, even I don't have the blood of an Asura saint. Even if I did, I wouldn't give it to an alien race like you. It seems that the blood of the Asura saint is much more precious than imagined. Jiang Fan frowned. You don't have this or that, then what do you have? The Asura Empress had been prepared, saying, I'll give you something from the human clan. Something from the humans? Jiang Fan was secretly surprised. When did the heavenly realm have anything of the human clan? In millennia, it was only recently that they had had a few trips to the heavenly realm. When the Asura Empress lifted her palm, revealing a blue halo, Jiang Fan suddenly realized. It was a blue wish paper. Xingyuan Venerable had given one to Jiang Fan, which could grant a grand wish of heaven and earth. He even made a wish to transport all the prodigies of the primordial hunting ground to Central Earth. Although its value is nothing compared to the power of cause and effect of an Asura Emperor or the blood of an Asura saint, at crucial moments, it can be extremely useful. If he guessed correctly, this blue wish paper was probably sourced from Wu Gu. That person was a bona fide sage of Confucianism. Crafting this kind of talisman paper was much easier than for Xingyuan Venerable. Most importantly, the blue wish paper in front of him was filled with vast energy and could be invoked at any moment. Seeing the Asura Empress gradually losing her patience, he decided to quit while he was ahead, saying, All right, we'll exchange hostages and the space mirror at the coastline simultaneously. Jiang Fan took out a bag of ancient giants. Though these bags didn't have as much internal space as human storage devices, they had a huge advantage. That is, they can hold living beings, something space storage devices cannot do. He pulled out the gourd with a thought. A cloud of mist containing the aura of the heavenly sword floated into the bag. Then, manipulating the 6-meter corpse holding the bag, he approached the coastline. He remained hidden in the distance. The Asura Empress followed suit, taking out a bag and separately putting Tian Qin and 2 5-crown kings inside. Then she threw the blue wish paper into the space mirror and personally took it toward the coastline. Both sides had people they cared deeply about, so neither had the intention to deceive. Otherwise, if they each crushed the space mirror and the bag, the consequences would be unpredictable. At the edge of the coastline, the Yin corpse and the Asura Empress exchanged the bags and space mirrors. Once in hand, Jiang Fan swung the void fishing rod to quickly reel the Yin corpse back. Upon scanning the space mirror, he saw that everyone was safe, and finally he could relax. At the same time, he also saw the blue wish paper. Smiling, he took it out. This thing could surprise the giants during the counterattack against the heavenly realm. A single Hun Yuan land sinking from the Xingyuan Venerable had already struck a psychological shadow in the giants' minds, right? By then, just taking it out would terrify them. Just as he was pondering, Jiang Fan suddenly felt an irresistible space power enveloping him. Oh no! He realized something was wrong immediately. Raising his eyes, he saw that the Asura Empress still held a wish paper that had already burned out. Judging from the remaining ashes, it was also a blue wish paper. With phoenix-like eyes gazing at Jiang Fan, she smirked. "Come out for me." Jiang Fan's face changed dramatically. This damned Empress actually had a trick up her sleeve. She never intended to let Jiang Fan go. Seeing that Jiang Fan was protected by the immortal king's undying bell and could not be harmed, she decided not to force it to avoid Jiang Fan risking it all with the heavenly sword. Now that she had rescued the heavenly sword, she had no more scruples. The wish she had made was clearly to draw Jiang Fan out. Under such a grand wish between heaven and earth, Jiang Fan couldn't escape at all. As he was about to be teleported out, Jiang Fan's heart leapt to his throat. Once outside, what awaited him would be the Asura Empress's deadly strike. She wouldn't give Jiang Fan a second chance to escape. Not a word would he get to say. Damn it. Jiang Fan was full of anger this time. He didn't scheme, honestly fulfilling a transaction. But this damned Empress still betrayed him. Truly, a good person is bullied. So you want to play with wish paper in front of me? Jiang Fan decisively activated the wish paper and loudly commanded, "Vast sea to Mulberry Field." As the words barely fell, the blue wish paper burned into ashes. Mystical power descended upon this world. Simultaneously, he was instantly teleported out. The Asura princess looked murderous, and before Jiang Fan had fully appeared from spatial teleportation, she struck out with a palm. The space Jiang Fan occupied was ripped into a terrifying void. She snorted coldly, "I thought you'd wish to escape." She was puzzled by Jiang Fan's wish for vast sea to Mulberry Field. Would that help Jiang Fan's life in any way? Bam bam, suddenly, the two five-crowned kings of hell and their 18 puppets behind her exploded into void without a sign. The Asura princess was caught off guard, a look of confusion flashing in her eyes. But her pupils soon shrank sharply. Under the wish of vast sea to Mulberry Field, the ocean beneath her feet evaporated out of thin air, revealing the seabed. And the seabed is an extension of the continent. This meant that they were within the continent's range. Her mind buzzed loudly. Could it be possible to play the continent's restrictions like this? The next moment, a cool voice rang in her ears. "Divinity transformation forbidden, sage bard. You crossed the line." Before she could react, a cold presence from her soul invaded her body. The vortex symbolizing her Asura Emperor realm over her head exploded, reverting back into 5 crowns. She fell directly from Asura Emperor back to 5-crowned King of Hell. But everything wasn't over yet. Her Asura Emperor body suffered unbearable pressure, producing explosive blasts. The soul level was also attacked destructively. Amid boundless pain, the Asura Empress let out a tragic groan, fallen to the ground, unknown whether alive or dead. The terrifying strike she brewed before fainting dissipated completely. Jiang Fan narrowly escaped with his life. Sweating profusely, he almost met his end. Upon reflection, he approached the Asura Empress and found she hadn't exploded into blood mist like the Asura Kings. Apart from fractures in all her bones and her internal organs turned to mush, she had no fatal injuries. Her soul had suffered severe damage. Jiang Fan was speechless. Why spare her a life? Couldn't she be killed to end future troubles? But then, noticing the blood flowing from her body exuding immense pressure, his heart stirred. Ah yes, where to find the blood of an Asura saint. Just purify it from the Asura Empress herself. The Asura Empress being an emperor meant her bloodline had been enhanced by the saint's blood, so he could use the mountain river tripod to forcefully extract the Asura saint's blood. That's why the ancient saint of cloud desolation didn't kill her. Grateful, he gave a thankful clasp to the sky. "Thank you, ancient saint little sister." The skies responded with a cloud forming the word cut. With something, she's a little sister. Without something, she's an old woman. Ha, damn man. With a dry laugh, Jiang Fan checked the Usura Empress again, finding a peach blossom seal on her forehead. It released a mysterious power, suppressing the Empress's strength completely. This meant she lost the ability to recover and counterattack Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan's heart was completely at ease. He patted the Usura Empress's cheek, saying, "Trying to trick me, huh? Happy now. Will you still play with wish paper next time?" In a daze, the Usura Empress woke, quickly realizing her predicament. Her face flowed with uncontrollable fear. Falling into an abyss, that irresistible death terrified her to her soul. The ancient saint on this island could no longer be described as terrifying. Then her grip loosened. As Jiang Fan took back the bags containing the heavenly sword, Tianqin and the clansmen. Tianqin and the 5 crowned kings of hell were bound by the immortal binding vine. Unable to cause trouble, Jiang Fan dumped them into the space mirror. But the heavenly sword was different. Released from the Tai Chu prison sky gourd, it was in complete condition. Dumping it into the space mirror would cause chaos. Without hesitation, he pressed the bag containing the heavenly sword to the ground, grasped the divine wood in his right hand, and struck down hard. 80, 80, 80. In the pounding sounds, the heavenly sword inside wriggled a few times, then quieted down. "Stop, you little!" Jiang Fan shot her a glare, then nonchalantly struck her. Even the Usura Empress flinched from the pain. Holding her head, she said, "Human clan, how dare you treat me like this?" Ignoring her, Jiang Fan stuffed her into the space mirror, binding her with the immortal binding vine. He then tied up the unconscious heavenly sword like a dead pig. Looking at the remaining short piece of the immortal binding vine, enough to bind only one more person, he felt speechless. "It's barely enough to bind your whole family." Space mirror. The Usura princess and Tianqin mother and daughter exchanged glances.